Chapter 646. There was a legend in the galactic field of the dimensional arena. A martial artist had set up a prize pool that would not take back any cash, allowing all martial artists in the world to come and challenge him. But after 2 months, not a single person had succeeded. The prize pool had accumulated over $4 billion in cash, and no one had been able to take it away. In the arena, this person's battle videos were constantly being circulated, attracting more and more people's attention. In the videos, the warrior called Lin Jun didn't look very strong at the beginning. He only used his fists, and his skills didn't seem to be very proficient. Many of his victories were rather forced. However, as the battles continued, he became more and more proficient in his skills. In the later videos, there were very few people who could withstand more than 3 of his moves. As the prize pool reached $5 billion, some experts were tempted. Someone called for a god to come and collect Lin Jun's $5 billion in cash. A god did come out, but after a tough battle, he still lost. The god of the 7399 battle zone, Niu Ming, a super nebula with a star power of 750,000, fought Lin Jun for a day and a night. In the end, Lin Jun actually used a comet-like punch and knocked Niu Ming out of the arena. Niu Ming was already the strongest warrior in the 7399 battle zone, but he still lost to Lin Jun. Then, no one in the 7399 battle zone was a match for Lin Jun. Under the pressure of Niu Ming, Lin Jun finally mastered the comet fall, and the battles after that became more and more relaxed. Without using guns, swords, or telekinesis, Lin Jun was already invincible in the nebula stage with just his fists. Originally, there were tens of thousands of people waiting in line. Lin Jun fought a battle in less than a minute, but they were all defeated in close to 3 months. The prize pool was as high as $10 billion, and no one dared to challenge him anymore. Lin Jun had just mastered the comet fall, so how could there be no opponents? Therefore, he did another shocking thing, which was to activate the cross-zone authority for this arena. By spending $1 billion in cash, one could apply for a cross-zone arena and face the entire primordial realm arena's galactic stage. This move caused a huge uproar. One had to know that every small battle zone had a king, but this kind of situation where they directly set up an arena was still very rare. This was looking down on all the nebula stage. The universe is so big, who dares to claim to be number one? Countless nebula stage martial artists immediately started to challenge. The number of people in the queue, which had originally reached 0, soared to more than 100,000, and it was still increasing. Looking at the number of challengers that kept increasing, Lin Jun said, "It seems that I won't be bored for a year." Lin Jun had originally thought that his strength would allow him to challenge any nebula stage martialist. However, when he activated the cross-zone battlefield, he realized that there was always someone better than him. There was no lack of geniuses in the vast universe. When he was 1 day and 3 months away from the end of the battle, and the prize pool had accumulated to $22 billion, a sword-wielding martial artist appeared. "You're Lin Jun, right? You are very arrogant. The people in our circle asked me to step in and stop your arrogant behavior. I'll take your $22 billion. Lin Jun had long been used to countless people talking big, so he did not care at all. Although this person's accent sounded like he was from the southern Liang, it did not affect anything. He immediately attacked. The two figures intersected, and after a series of flashes, this person's sword pierced through Lin Jun's chest. The vital point of the heart was hit without missing. At this moment, Lin Jun knew that he had been careless. Having not had an opponent for a long time, he had an unavoidable arrogance, or rather, numbness. This person had attacked with a fatal blow, and he had treated him as normal. Naturally, there would not be any good results. However, Lin Jun's body was also far stronger than ordinary people. At the last moment, he attacked with his nascent soul. This sword-wielding martial artist thought that he had won, but he did not expect Lin Jun to counterattack before he died. Although his ability was not bad, his mind power was not as good as Lin Jun's. Cui Meng's 99% mind power could not withstand the devastation of the nascent soul. He was hit directly and died on the spot. Coincidentally, the time of death of the two people was exactly the same. This battle was judged to be a draw. Lin Jun did not win, and his opponent did not lose either. This was the first time Lin Jun had seen someone who could take 22 billion in one go. This person's background was definitely not small. After the battle ended, Lin Jun was also covered in cold sweat. That was close. He was still a little numb. He had almost let his 3 months of savings be taken away by someone else. In the following day, Lin Jun was much more cautious when he fought. He did not give others a chance. Finally, he passed the first 3 months without any mishaps. With 22 billion in cash in hand, Lin Jun did not stop there. Instead, he once again set up an arena with a prize pool of 1 billion and faced challenges from the entire Galaxy division. However, the second challenge did not go as smoothly as the first. After he defeated the sword-wielding martial artist, another expert finally came. Less than 3 days after the second arena was set up, a martial artist who used 2 sabers came to challenge him. This person was dressed in a long robe with a dark red pattern. This proved that this person's identity was not ordinary. Ordinary people were not qualified to wear such attire. Lin Jun, do you know that your claptrap is tarnishing Southern Liang's reputation? You can't imagine how many experts there are in the universe. I'm going to tear down your arena now so that you don't embarrass Southern Liang. Judging from this person's tone, he should be from Southern Liang. However, Lin Jun did not care. The arena still depended on one's strength. The two of them exchanged blows. This time, Lin Jun finally kicked an iron plate. After 3 minutes of fighting, Lin Jun was completely suppressed. His opponent's sabers were long and short. He held the long saber in his hand, while the short saber was held in the opposite hand. This was called the reverse handblade. His moves were extremely strange, making it difficult for Lin Jun to parry. In addition, Lin Jun did not use his weapon. In the end, although he used Comet Fall to injure his opponent, he still fell to his opponent's saber. Lin Jun did not use the Astral Infant because he saw his opponent's spiritual defense treasure. A rainbow-colored necklace was enough to defend against his bronze-level Astral Infant. 2 billion in cash was swept away. After that, Chris told Lin Jun that the person's astral power was as high as 1.03 million. The martial artist who used a sword the last time also had an astral power of 1 million. After Lin Jun's astral infant left his body, this person carried a spiritual defense treasure and did not give Lin Jun a chance to use his spiritual attack. There was no doubt that these two people knew each other. It was just that he did not know what their relationship was. After losing 2 rounds in a row, Lin Jun stayed alone in the dimensional space and did not immediately set up the arena. There were 2 paths in front of him. One was to pick up his long spear or long sword and set up the arena again. In that case, Lin Jun believed that he would not lose so easily. At the worst, he could use the Black Hole Devour, which would definitely kill any Nebula-level martial artist. However, if he did that, he would not be able to practice his Starfall 5 styles. He had not mastered Comet Fall yet, and his goal was Satellite Fall. The other path was to set up the arena again and continue fighting. Although he still lost occasionally, Lin Jun believed that one day he would not lose in a Nebula-level arena again. Chris, the people who challenge me all have names. Can you find out who these 2 people are? Master, I've checked. The identities of these 2 people are confidential. Lin Jun nodded. Since it was confidential, he basically knew who they were. Based on their attire and accent, they should be people from the Southern Liang. They were not ordinary people either. They should belong to the royal family. Not only did the royal family have rich resources, but they also had many immortal-level martial artists. It was impossible for their children not to be strong. For example, the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess that Lin Jun knew were immortal level. Only such a family and environment could nurture such powerful disciples. Especially since these people were still young, Lin Jun was even more certain of this point. Losing to them wasn't something they couldn't accept. After sorting out his emotions, Lin Jun once again returned to the arena and set up the $1 billion arena. In the following year, Lin Jun still won most of the time. However, he would still lose occasionally. The two people with 1 million star power seemed to treat Lin Jun as a treasure trove. Whenever the prize pool accumulated to a certain extent, they would challenge him. Lin Jun did not care if he lost. After all, he only had 1 billion. If he lost, so be it. Gradually, Lin Jun figured out the pattern of these two people's appearances. Every time the martial artist who used a sword came to fight, he would not really take all the prize money. The person who defeated Lin Jun in the end was always the young man who used a reverse blade with 2 swords. Moreover, this person had a foul mouth. After winning the money, he would humiliate Lin Jun. It was as if he could not show off his nobility if he did not do so. Lin Jun counted the time silently as he cultivated. He should find a chance to teach this person a lesson. Time passed day by day. Half a year had passed just like that. There was still no news about the vermilion burblood. Lin Jun was not anxious. He basically spent most of his time in the arena every day. Occasionally, he would go to the shop to check on the situation. With his clone refining pills, the shop was still running. However, it was not as fast as before. It was not a small amount to earn a few million star power points every day. There was no movement from Gu Yunting's side. It was as if he had forgotten about Lin Jun. Lin Jun had also secretly learned about his situation. It was said that he studied ancient pill recipes in the soaring sky building every day and did not have time to go out. Gu Yunting did not move. Lin Jun did not move either. What he lacked now was time. During this period, Lin Jun lost another few billion star power points. However, the money was not spent in vain. After the arduous training in the arena, he had finally mastered Comet Fall. He had even comprehended the profound meaning of satellite fall. However, his star power was less than 1 million, so it was not enough to use satellite fall. The prize pool had accumulated to 4 billion star power again. A challenger appeared before him. It was the martial artist with the long sword. He was the martial artist who had perished together with Lin Jun the first time. Chapter 647. Lin Jun smiled in disdain as he looked at the martial artist with a sword. Have you forgotten how you fell to the ground the last time? The martial artist scoffed. Do you think your nascent soul is still useful this time? I brought a spiritual defense treasure. I don't even need spiritual power to defeat you. My hands are enough. Ha ha ha. What a joke. Lin Jun, you're just a country bumpkin from the new territories. We're just treating you like an ATM. How dare you be so arrogant in front of us? Who are you? You don't have to worry about that. It's not that we can't tell you. We're just afraid that you'll be so scared that you won't even dare to fight with us. That would be too boring. Is that so? Since you don't want to tell me, then don't ever tell me. Lin Jun dashed forward. His figure flashed twice in the air, and he instantly appeared in front of the martial artist with a sword. You're asking for death. World-breaking slash. The martial artist wielded his sword with both hands, and an extremely fierce sword gleam appeared. He was going to cut Lin Jun in half. Facing the opponent's powerful attack, astral power erupted from his energy center. Lin Jun took out his yin-yang spear for the first time and used the Comet Fall to meet the opponent head-on. The two of them had similar astral powers, and it looked like they were evenly matched. After fighting for more than 10 minutes, Lin Jun finally seized the opportunity. At the cost of being injured, he sent the martial artist flying out of the arena with one strike. The difference between the two of them was almost negligible. It was normal for either of them to win. The prize pool for defeating the martial artist with a sword reached 8 billion. After defeating this person, according to past experience, the young man from the royal family should be here in a few days. Lin Jun knew that he couldn't stay in the galaxy field for much longer. Because he was almost done digesting the medicinal effects, he would be able to advance to the domain monarch level in a few months. In this battle, Lin Jun gave people the feeling that he had barely won even though he had used all his trump cards. Therefore, when that young man from the royal family came, he would probably take all of the challenge money. Lin Jun found 2 nebula stage martial artists and used Soul Lock to capture them for his own use. Then, he transferred the money to his bank card. At this time, Lin Jun already had close to 30 billion in cash. One person gave 8 billion, while the other gave 16 billion. These two people challenged each other 2 days apart, So Lin Jun's prize pool reached a total of 32 billion. Lin Jun reckoned that within 3 days, that royal family martial artist would definitely arrive. He was going to make him spit out everything that he had won. Master, someone in the dimensional universe is calling you. It's Miss Suzanne. Lin Jun was overjoyed and immediately connected to Suzanne. Elder Lin, congratulations. The vermilion bird blood that you wanted has finally been acquired. The other party is asking for 300 million. Do you want to buy it? Of course, I'll buy it even if it's 300 million. Lin Jun hung up the dimensional universe and went to the front desk of the guild. Suzanne handed a bottle of red blood to Lin Jun. Lin Jun took it and carefully kept it in his interspatial ring. This is for you. Lin Jun gave a red packet of 10 million to Suzanne, making this little woman smile from ear to ear. Elder Lin, your shop's business hasn't been so good recently, but you're still so generous. You're really a good person. Recently, Gu Yunting had released his new elixir. The ancient elixir had been successfully developed by him. The name of the elixir was God Power Elixir. This elixir had a special effect. It could stimulate a person's star power for a short period of time, increasing their strength by a quarter. There was a time limit. It was only a short 10 minutes. After that, there would be a month of weakness, and their star power would decrease by a quarter. But even if it was only 10 minutes, it could make a person with 800,000 star power to 1,000,000 star power. It was enough to change a lot of things. When the God Power Elixir appeared, almost everyone went to buy it. Lin Jun's shop's business naturally declined a lot. Moreover, Lin Jun's main body had been cultivating. He relied on his clone to refine the elixir. He didn't have any stock, so naturally, he couldn't make much money. Lin Jun smiled at Suzanne. Don't worry about this. If you don't make money, I'll still give you a red packet. With the vermilion bird blood, Lin Jun hurried back to his courtyard. Back in the alchemy room, Lin Jun temporarily closed the dimensional universe and began refining the Force Spirit elixir. He took out the blood of the green dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. He also took out the various ingredients that he had prepared. Lin Jun lit the furnace. The doppelganger stayed beside the main body, acting as Lin Jun's assistant and bodyguard. As long as the Force Spirit elixir was refined, Lin Jun's clone would be able to unlock the first divine needle and have a star power of 3 million. Ha ha! Brother Ku, you're finally here. Inside the sky-soaring building, Gu Yunting welcomed a guest with a laugh. Ku Xianglong's face was covered in dust. Compared to a few hundred years ago, he looked much older. He was already more than 9,000 years old this year. Originally, he had crossed the Heaven Gate early and had the time and opportunity to break through to the longevity realm. However, he had been suppressed under the Heaven Gate by moon-chasing God for more than 700 years, causing him to miss the best opportunity to break through. Now that his lifespan was almost up, it was almost impossible for him to break through the limits of the World King and advance to the longevity realm. He didn't have the courage to settle the score with moon-chasing God. He could only blame it all on Lin Jun. Therefore, when Gu Yunting contacted him, he immediately agreed to come over. However, the primordial realm was just too big, and he didn't have much money on hand. This was only because Gu Yunting had sponsored him with a few hundred million in cash that he was able to travel from tens of millions of light years away to Xianlu County in a year. Where is Lin Jun? Ku Xianglong asked straightforwardly. Brother Ku, don't worry. Lin Jun is at the Alchemist Guild. It won't be easy for you to make a move there. Ku Xianglong took 2 sips of tea. Then what should I do? Don't worry. I will ask Lin Jun to come out. You can set up an ambush in advance, and then make your move. All right, then I'll wait for your news. Ku Xianglong's eyes revealed a murderous aura, causing Gu Yunting to be secretly alarmed. Ku Xianglong's star power was definitely above his. It was about 3 million. The alchemy fire burned fiercely in the alchemy furnace. Lin Jun's sweat slid down his forehead, but he didn't even have the time to wipe it off. Various supplementary herbs were added in, and the Force Spirit pill was about to take shape. He waved his hands in the air, drawing mysterious trajectories. A clear and cold air was injected into the alchemy furnace. The temperature of the alchemy fire plummeted. Open the furnace. A spinning golden pill appeared in Lin Jun's hand. Traces of blood-colored patterns were densely packed in the golden pill, containing powerful qi and blood energy. Done. Lin Jun was delighted. This pill was enough to feed the bloodthirsty divine needle and make it lose its power completely. Then, he could take it out from his clone's body. The clone sat beside the main body, took the golden pill, and swallowed it in one gulp. At this moment, Lin Jun's dimensional universe rang. Master, someone in the dimensional universe is calling for you. It's Elder Wang from the guild. Lin Jun thought for a moment. Elder Wang was the person who competed with him for the ancient pill recipe at the auction house. They could be considered to know each other. In fact, after being in the Xinla Region Guild for so many years, Lin Jun could be considered as a senior elder. Although his rank was only at the beginning of rank 5, the Ice Fire Divine Pill was selling like hotcakes. Basically, all the elders knew him and were polite to him. He didn't know why this Elder Wang was looking for him. Lin Jun connected to the dimensional universe. Ha ha ha. Elder Lin has been in seclusion recently. Are you researching some elixir to make a fortune? Elder Wang thinks too highly of me. If elixirs were so easy to research, I wouldn't have to stay in the guild and open a small pharmacy every day. AI. Elder Lin is too modest. Who in the guild doesn't know that you're a rich man? You are the richest among us elders. Your small pharmacy makes a lot of money every day. Lin Jun smiled and didn't say anything. This kind of words didn't have any substance. Next, this person was going to talk about the main topic. Sure enough, Elder Wang changed the topic. Elder Lin, I recently got hold of an incomplete ancient pill recipe. I have been researching it in seclusion for many days, but still didn't have any clues. I want to find a few like-minded friends to research it together. When the pill recipe is researched, we will split the profits. The first person I thought of was you, Elder Lin. Haha, are you interested in discussing it together? Hearing Elder Wang's words, Lin Jun was stunned for a moment. Then he snorted disdainfully. Incomplete ancient pill recipe. Researching it together, it was simply nonsense. Even if the ancient pill recipe was incomplete, these alchemists would still keep it like a treasure. They wouldn't even let others look at it, let alone appear. What joint research? Did they think that Lin Jun was a 3-year-old child? But since the other party said so, then his intentions were worthy of suspicion. One who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Lin Jun's thought spun. If it was just this Elder Wang, no matter what schemes he had, Lin Jun wasn't afraid because this elder was just a domain monarch. Lin Jun's original body could kill him with a raise of his hand. He believed that the other party wouldn't be so reckless. Then, there was only one possibility. That was that Gu Yunting was preparing to make a move. Gu Yunting was the president of the Alchemist Guild in the past. Huang Fuqi and Thomas were his underlings in the past, and he definitely had trusted aides in the guild. This Elder Wang was probably such a character. Lin Jun immediately asked, "Are we going to your alchemy lab?" No. I have a few apprentices in my alchemy lab. I don't want them to find out anything. Let's go to my shop first. It's quieter there. You know that my shop has been blocked by your shop, so there's no business at all. Lin Jun smiled. All right then. Let's meet tonight after I'm done with my work. All right, I'll contact you tonight. Chapter 648. Since Gu Yunting was about to make his move, there was no point in him running away. He might as well see what tricks they had up their sleeves. No matter what they had planned, they would never expect him to have a clone. Lin Jun's clone sat at the side, and he had reached a critical moment in his cultivation. The 4 spiritual pill continued to channel its energy into the bloodthirsty divine needle, making the needle's color brighter and brighter. It's full. When the divine pill's energy was depleted, the needle was finally full of blood and would no longer go deeper into the clone's body. A surge of astral power surged, and the needle flew out of Lin Jun's chest. A stream of blood shot out. Lin Jun raised his hand and caught the long, bloodthirsty divine needle. It was finally unsealed. A powerful surge of astral power started to spread around the clone, and Lin Jun's clone's astral power increased from 2 million to 3 million. The entire room was filled with starlight. After unsealing the needle, Lin Jun felt his body relax and his strength increased. Lin Jun held the divine needle with one hand and looked at it for a while. He sighed inwardly. Such a small thing is able to suppress my astral power of 1,000,000 stars. Impressive. After unsealing the first needle, there were still two more. One was in the Dantian Sea of Qi, and the other was in the Baihui acupoint on the top of his head. They suppressed his meridians and prevented his astral power from flowing. Lin Jun's next target was the piercing divine needle in the Baihui acupoint. It was more difficult to unseal this needle. He needed the bones of the 7 supergalactic beasts. The 7 supergalactic beasts were the divine dragon, phoenix, Qilin, Kuanpeng, violent ape, Taotai, and soul-devouring beast. Compared to the blood of the 4 spirits, the bones of the 7 supergalactic beasts were even more difficult to obtain. Lin Jun's black hole beast was also a mutated Qilin. But did he have to extract one of his bones? Did he have to get a phoenix's bone from Little Phoenix? Lin Jun would rather let his doppelganger die. Lin Jun had even asked Suzanne, but the Alchemist Guild in Xianlu Prefecture did not have any of these bones in stock. They could only search for them after leaving Xianlu Prefecture and go to the Southern Liang Empire or other places. To a 9th-level world king, 2,000,000 star forces could barely be considered average. But 3,000,000 star force was different. That was absolutely top quality. Moreover, Lin Jun had now learned satellite fall. When combined with his avatar's phantom light sword, his strength had multiplied. Even an ordinary world king wouldn't be placed in his eyes. After his clone had fully recovered, Lin Jun once again received Elder Wang's invitation. Elder Lin, I've been waiting for you in the shop. I've even bought some food and wine. Let's eat and study at the same time and discuss alchemy techniques. It's better for 2 people to discuss than one person working behind closed doors. Hee. All right, then I'll be bothering you. I'll pack up and be there in half an hour. Okay. Come, I'll wait for you. Lin Jun hung up the call from the dimensional universe. He didn't immediately leave. Without a doubt, Gu Yunting had already made his move. Although Lin Jun now had a 3,000,000 star force avatar, he couldn't act rashly. He absolutely couldn't go to Elder Wang's shop. Opening the map of Xianlu Prefecture, Lin Jun carefully looked at it. After looking at it for a while, he closed the map. He already had a plan in mind. Lin Feng, get up. Let's leave this place. Lin Jun called out to Lin Feng, who was in the middle of alchemy. Lin Feng immediately stood up. Boss, where are we going? Leaving this place. Leaving? Where are we going? To the Southern Liang. We can't stay here any longer. Okay. Boss, tell me, what should I do? Just do as I say, Lin Jun said and whispered a few words into Lin Feng's ear. Okay, I'll listen to boss. The 2 of them decided on a plan. Lin Jun took the lead and left the Alchemist Guild. After leaving, he turned around and looked at the Alchemist Guild. He felt a little emotional. After staying here for so many years, he more or less had some feelings for it. But today he had to leave. First of all, the date of his appointment with Little Phoenix was getting closer and closer. He couldn't stay in Xianlu Prefecture forever. Moreover, since he had to shed all pretense of cordiality with Gu Yunting, he would definitely offend the person behind Gu Yunting. From his usual conversations with Thomas, Lin Jun already knew who the person behind Gu Yunting was. That person was actually Xianlu Prefecture's governor, the immortal realm martial artist, Liu Yang. Only such a person could guarantee that Gu Yunting's business in Xianlu Prefecture would grow bigger and bigger. In fact, most of the money that Gu Yunting earned went into Liu Yang's pocket. If he offended the governor of Xianlu Prefecture, even if Lin Jun was an alchemist, he couldn't stay here peacefully. Therefore, he had to leave. But before leaving, he had to deal with Gu Yunting. This would test Lin Jun's methods. After leaving the Alchemist Guild, he strolled leisurely. After walking past 2 streets, he suddenly summoned the rock. The rock rose into the sky. Lin Jun mounted the rock and headed out of the city. 5 minutes after Lin Jun left, Lin Feng left the Alchemist Guild. No one knew where he went. Lin Jun ran away. Gu Yunting, who had been monitoring Lin Jun's movements, was furious. For today's matter, he had planned for a long time, waiting for Lin Jun to fall into his trap. He didn't expect that this guy would be so vigilant and actually run away. Yes, Mr. Gu. Our people have been secretly monitoring him. He ran away alone. He didn't even bring his World King follower. He probably felt that things weren't going well and ran away. No, we can't let him run away. Mr. Gu, he can't run far. There are no transmission arrays within 10 million kilometers of the direction he ran in. As long as we follow the path, we can definitely catch him. Okay, tell Xianglong to chase him immediately. You guys go and lead the way. We can't let him run away. We're going to. Mr. Gu, you're safe here. Gu Yunting looked at the two world kings beside him and waved his hand to let them leave. He didn't have any enemies in this city. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to touch him because he had an immortal realm expert behind him. Moreover, he was also a world king. He had a lot of confidence in his own strength. Lin Jin couldn't possibly be his opponent. At this moment, he missed the past when he was the president of the Alchemist Guild. At that time, he had the support of the headquarters. He had two immortal realm martial artists protecting him. However, since he was no longer the president, he no longer had that kind of treatment. He couldn't afford to hire an immortal realm expert. Even County Governor Liu Yang couldn't casually send two immortal realm martial artists to protect him. After all, the strength of a county governor was far from being comparable to the Alchemist Guild headquarters. Moreover, Lin Jun ran in the opposite direction. Of course, it was impossible for him to attack him. He still had this kind of common sense. Moreover, he still had a trump card. Once he was attacked, County Governor Liu Yang would rush over within a minute. There were no transmission arrays around. No one could escape the pursuit of an immortal realm expert after attacking him. The two world kings immediately received the order and left. They went to Elder Wang's shop and chased after him with Xianglong. The pursuers kept reporting the situation to him. Seeing that Lin Jun and his pursuers were getting further and further away, he also relaxed. This time, Lin Jun was considered to have left. Even if he couldn't kill him, he probably left Xianlu County. This was a good thing. The elixir market was once again dominated by him. Gu Yunting drew his sword. He still felt a little regretful. After learning the Tai Yuan sword technique, he hadn't had the chance to use it. His identity determined that he couldn't casually fight with others. If Lin Jun hadn't left, it would have been good for him to practice. Gu Yunting thought. He was now very confident in his own strength. After the pursuers gradually left, Lin Feng appeared outside the sky, soaring tower. Boss is really crafty. He actually thought of luring the enemy away and then using the transmission array to return. I really don't know how he has the power of the world when he isn't even a world king. Sigh, I've already given him the aura of my inner world. He can directly enter my inner world. Boss, you see me naked this time. You have to be responsible for me in the future. Lin Feng muttered a few words and immediately activated the transmission array. Lin Jun, who had already flown tens of millions of kilometers away, immediately appeared in Lin Feng's inner world. Lin Feng's power of the world moved, and Lin Jun appeared outside. Boss, what do we do next? You've completed the mission. Return to the guild now. Remember, open your inner world. Lin Feng immediately nodded in agreement. In his opinion, Lin Jun was very mysterious but very reliable. Since he had made such a decision, he would definitely be able to complete the task successfully. Lin Feng was very confident. Lin Feng immediately returned to the Alchemist Guild. That was the safest place. What did you say? Lin Jun suddenly disappeared. Gu Yunting, who was waiting for news, was shocked when he heard his subordinates report. Yes, Mr. Gu. Lin Jun ran and suddenly disappeared. Did he teleport? Hurry and check the surrounding area. Teleportation will leave behind spatial fluctuations. Understood. After disconnecting from the dimensional universe, Gu Yunting felt a sense of unease in his heart. If it was teleportation, then it was impossible for Ku Xianglong and his two world kings to not sense any clues. They would definitely have interrupted him. Moreover, the spatial barriers within the primordial realm were firm and viscous. It was very difficult to use long-distance teleportation. If it was short-distance teleportation, it wouldn't be as fast as flying beasts. Where did Lin Jin go? Gu Yunting couldn't help but take out his spirit treasure level sword and vigilantly look around. Lin Jun shouldn't be so daring as to come looking for him. He was a 9th-level world king and also had the county governor behind him. Did Lin Jun not want to live anymore? Suddenly, the window of the room he was in was blasted open. A ball of fire fell from the sky at an extremely fast speed. It was clearly a ball of fire, but in Gu Yunting's eyes, it was clearly a giant planet. Chapter 649. Heavenly Beginning Light. Gu Yunting could not escape, as the planet before him had locked onto the space. He might as well go all out and use the Taiyuan sword technique. A beam of light exploded and blasted the planet before him. The Taiyuan sword technique had 7 moves: Heavenly Beginning, Heavenly Splendor, Taishu, Taishu, Taiyuan, Life Terminator, and God's Burial. Strictly speaking, the Taiyuan sword technique was more powerful than the 5 moves of Falling Star. It was a supreme technique for sword users. However, Gu Yunting had been focused on studying the ancient pill recipe. He had only mastered the first move of the Taiyuan sword technique, Heavenly Beginning. How could he compare with the Falling Star of Lin Jun's clone? Moreover, Gu Yunting's astral power was inferior to Lin Jun's clone. The sword light and the Falling Star of Falling Star were locked in a stalemate for about 5 seconds. Then, his sword energy was shattered by Lin Jun's powerful fist pressure. The remaining force landed on his chest. The sky-soaring tower collapsed at that moment. It was completely reduced to dust by the fist that came from the sky. After a violent tremor, a 20-meter-wide crater appeared on the ground. Gu Yunting's body was in tatters. He spat out blood as he collapsed in the middle of the crater. His eyes were already starting to lose focus. The figure in the air slowly descended. Lin Jun was like a demon god as he stared at Gu Yunting. Cough, cough, cough. You're not Lin Jun. Who are you? Gu Yunting could not believe that this was Lin Jun. How could a nebula stage martial artist almost kill him, a realm king, with a single punch? Lin Jun sneered. Who I am is not important. What's important is that you're finished, Gu Yunting. No, you can't kill me. County Governor Liu Yang, is my friend. If you kill me, he won't let you go. Save these things for when you go to hell. Lin Jun raised his hand, and a comet appeared in his palm. He wanted to use Comet Fall on Gu Yunting and finish him off once and for all. At this time, Gu Yunting suddenly stuffed a pill into his mouth and shot up. This pill was an ancient pill that he had refined himself. It directly increased his astral power by 20%. His injury wasn't as serious as it looked. He just unleashed his astral power. When Lin Jun looked up Gu Yunting's information, his astral power was already 3 million. After a few years, his astral power had reached 5 million. It had increased by 20% and soared to 3 million, which was the same as Lin Jun's clone. Heavenly Splendor. Liu Yang had already received the news that Gu Yunting had been attacked. He was on his way here and would definitely arrive within a minute. 40 seconds had passed since Lin Jun appeared and spoke. If he could hold on for another 10 seconds, the one who would die would be Lin Jun. The ancient pill could increase one's strength, but there were side effects as well. In addition, Gu Yunting was injured. Even if he won, he would definitely lose a layer of skin. However, it was nothing compared to his life. He wasn't familiar with the second style of the Taiyuan sword style, Heavenly Splendor. In order to save his life, he couldn't care less. Lin Jun didn't expect Gu Yunting to counterattack so fiercely before his death. He used Comet Fall in his hand and clashed with Gu Yunting's Heavenly Splendor again. With the same amount of astral power, it would depend on the skill. Although the 5 styles of Comet Fall were also ancient manuals, it was still slightly inferior to the Taiyuan sword style. After a short stalemate, Lin Jun was blasted away. Gu Yunting was blasted to the ground, while Lin Jun was blasted into the sky. Gu Yunting heaved a sigh of relief. He had already sensed that Liu Yang was on his way here. He would be safe if he could hold on for a few more seconds. Swoosh! Lin Jun, who was blasted away, teleported and appeared beside Gu Yunting again. His clothes were tattered, revealing his purplish gold body. He didn't have any injuries even after being attacked by the sword aura. Purplish gold god tribe. The knowledgeable Gu Yunting recognized Lin Jun's tribe at first glance. He didn't expect Lin Jun, this kid from the New Territories, to be from one of the top tribes in the primordial realm, the Purplish Gold God tribe. You really aren't Lin Jun. Who are you? Lin Jun couldn't be bothered to explain so much to him. He raised his hand and was about to use Comet Fall again to kill him. Gu Yunting used Heavenly Splendor again without any hesitation. At the same time, he raised his hand, and a black, poisonous fog rose. As a peak rank, 6 Dark Alchemist, he had many life-saving methods. This poisonous fog contained extremely powerful toxins that could instantly destroy one's internal organs. At the same time, it was extremely corrosive. However, Lin Jun's Comet Fall was an extremely powerful martial art technique. In addition, he was immune to all poisons. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of Gu Yunting's toxins. He still punched him fiercely. Clang! A sword came from the west and blocked Lin Jun's punch. Lu Yang was here. The immortal martial artist attacked. With a sword from tens of thousands of kilometers away, Lin Jun's Comet Fall was defeated. Aha! You're finished. Whether you're Lin Jun or anyone else, you're just trash in front of the immortal martial artist. Die. Gu Yunting laughed arrogantly. No matter how strong the person in front of him was, he couldn't possibly be a match for the immortal martial artist. Not only did the flying sword block Lin Jun's attack, but it also turned and slashed towards Lin Jun again. The sword light caused the space in the primordial realm to begin to tear. This was something that Lin Jun had never seen before. He couldn't block such a sword. He had no choice but to fly backward to avoid such a sword. However, in this way, he would be far away from Gu Yunting and would miss the best opportunity to kill him. A figure quickly approached. It was Lu Yang. He had to save Gu Yunting. This was an important source of income for him. He couldn't tolerate him being killed by others. Purple Gold God race, let go quickly. Otherwise, you'll definitely die. Gu Yunting had a smug look on his face. This was what it meant to have the tables turned. He had almost died just now, and now the situation had reversed. Lin Jun retreated, his eyes fixed on Gu Yunting. Ha ha! What are you looking at? What's the use of looking? Can you do anything in front of the immortal martial artist? Come on, come on. If you touch a single hair of mine, I'll admit defeat. Gu Yunting didn't know how to express his feelings at this moment. He had narrowly escaped death. This feeling was really too good. He even made faces at Lin Jun, doing everything he could to anger Lin Jun. Lin Jun's heart didn't waver at this moment. This was the first time he was facing an immortal martial artist, but he was unexpectedly calm. His gaze was fixed on the immortal martial artist's feet. He believed that when the other party came, he would definitely put on airs or say a few words. It was impossible for him to kill him without a word. That was because Lin Jun looked like a Purple Gold God race member now. There were many experts in the Purple Gold God race. Even if Lu Yang was an immortal martial artist, he wouldn't dare to kill him without asking. Therefore, the moment Lu Yang paused was his chance. As expected, after Lu Yang arrived, his flying sword remained in its attacking posture. After landing on the ground, he looked at Lin Jun and said, "Tell me your true identity. I have a few friends in the Purple Gold Divine tribe. I don't want to risk my life. This is your only chance to survive." Before Lu Yang could finish, Lin Jun made his move. Gravity. His target wasn't Lu Yang, but Gu Yunting, who had been making faces at him. Gu Yunting had suffered a heavy blow from Lin Jun and was now in a seriously injured state. He had no resistance to Lin Jun's gravity at all and was directly pulled toward Lin Jun. "You're courting death." Lu Yang was enraged. His flying sword stirred up wind and thunder as it slashed toward Lin Jun. Lin Jun had been guarding against him since a long time ago. When his flying sword attacked, Lin Jun's nascent soul came out of his body. His body was 10% bronze. The nascent soul wielded a 7-colored spear and attacked Lu Yang's Spirit Sea at lightning speed. Lu Yang didn't bring any spirit defense treasures. As an immortal martial artist, he had a gold late-stage nascent soul. He didn't need any spirit defense treasures. However, it was precisely because of this that he had to be more careful when dealing with Lin Jun's nascent soul. This was because the nascent soul was wielding a spear. The nascent soul ignored all physical attacks and defenses. He could only use his nascent soul to fight. The two nascent souls quickly exchanged blows in the air. Liu Yang's nascent soul shone with golden light like a doll made of gold. However, he still had to be careful when dealing with Lin Zhen's seven-colored spear. However, because of this, his flying sword wasn't as swift as before. After all, he was passively facing his enemy. He still needed time to react. Perhaps it was less than a second before Lin Zhen grabbed the screaming Gu Yunting in his hand. Liu Yang's reaction was quite fast. His flying sword attacked again. However, it was too late this time. Lin Zhen's body flashed with white light as he activated his power of the world. It was Lin Feng's power of the world. Lin Zhen used the power of the world and directly brought Gu Yunting into Lin Feng's inner world. The next moment, the two of them appeared in the Alchemist Guild's room. Lin Feng watched as Lin Zhen grabbed Gu Yunting. He couldn't help but ask, "Boss, aren't we leaving Xianle County? Why are we coming back to the Alchemist Guild? Won't this give the enemy a chance to surround us? There are no teleportation portals in the Alchemist Guild." At this moment, Gu Yunting also shouted, "You can't run away. The Alchemist Guild can't teleport. Soon, the prefectural governor's army will surround this place. You can't escape even if you have wings." "Huh, you're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. Gu Yunting, you're really an idiot. Since I dared to attack you, why would I be afraid of your threats? Shut up." With a wave of his hand, a purplish gold palm slammed into Gu Yunting's neck. Such a heavy blow finally made Gu Yunting unable to take it, and he fainted. "Boss, what should we do now?" "We just have to wait," Lin Zhen said calmly. Soon, there was a commotion outside. Liu Yang arrived outside the Alchemist Guild in less than a minute. Thomas and the others had just woken up to check what was going on when Lin Zhen appeared in the sky above the Alchemist Guild with Lin Feng. "Liu Yang, every debt has its debtor. Come at me if you dare. Go to hell." Liu Yang hated this person who dared to trick him. It didn't matter if he was from the Purplish Gold God tribe or not. He flew up and wanted to kill Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen sneered in disdain. Then, his body flashed with white light as he used another teleportation portal. Chapter 650. The plan was already in Lin Zhen's mind. Lin Feng activated the power of the world and sent him back to the Alchemist Guild. Then, his main body activated the power of the world and brought them into the dark star space. When his clone arrived at the soaring sky tower, his main body went straight to the public transportation formation in the city. The escape plan was all in his mind. Everyone, including Prefectural Governor Liu Yang, was being toyed with by Lin Zhen. As for opening the dark star space to Lin Feng, Lin Zhen didn't care. Lin Feng dared to open his inner world to Lin Zhen first. Lin Zhen trusted Lin Feng a lot. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, Lin Zhen disappeared. "Where is he? Where'd he go?" Liu Yang roared excitedly. The people around him kept quiet out of fear of angering the prefectural governor. However, he couldn't vent his anger on the Alchemist Guild. Although he was the prefectural governor, even the entire southern Liang Empire couldn't compare to the Alchemist Guild in the Yuan realm, let alone Xianle County. Thomas exhaled softly and secretly clenched his fist. "Lin Zhen, well done." "Boss, is this your inner world?" "It's actually a planet. It's so beautiful. Wow, there are so many spiritual herbs." Oh, we're rich. We're rich." "Boss, go out. I'll stay here and help you gather the herbs." "Uh-huh. This tree is King awesome. Are those twinkling little stars? This spring water is so sweet. Look, there's a dragon on the tree." Lin Zhen covered Lin Feng's mouth. "Be quiet. We're leaving Xianle County soon. We'll be out in a while." Lin Feng's eyes were still looking back and forth. Compared to Lin Zhen's inner world, his inner world was like a desert. There was nothing to see. After the clone and Lin Feng arrived in the inner world, Lin Zhen immediately stepped onto the teleportation array. The guards of the teleportation array didn't receive any news at all because at this moment, Liu Yang was still in a daze at the Alchemist Guild. To the South Sky region, 20 million. Lin Zhen paid the money, and with a flash of white light, he finally left Xianle County. At the next moment, he appeared in the Tiannan, which was 1,000,000 light-years away, to the Yin Mountain Prefecture. For 1,000,000, Lin Jun paid again and teleported to the Yinshan Prefecture at the border of the Tianan Prefecture. When he arrived at the Yin Mountain Prefecture, he immediately rode on the demonic dragon and sped up for 1,000,000 kilometers. He arrived at a private teleportation portal and was teleported to a private club in the blazing Inferno Prefecture that was 300,000 light-years away. After exiting the private club, they went to the raging Inferno Prefecture's teleportation array and arrived at Wangchuan Prefecture. After exiting Wangchuan, they traveled 500,000 kilometers and arrived at the outskirts of the Southern Liang Empire through a public teleportation portal. After arriving at the outskirts of the Southern Liang Empire, Lin Jun identified the direction and traveled 1,000 kilometers in the opposite direction. He arrived at a place called the Deserted Inn by the side of the official road and stayed there. Lu Yang, aren't you an immortal-level martial artist? If you're so capable, come and look for me. Let's see if you can find me. The series of teleportations originated from Hua Hua Taisui's memory. In order to escape from the immortal-level martial artists, it had figured out the locations of the teleportation portals in the Southern Liang Empire. It was confident that no one would be able to find it. As expected, Lu Yang immediately thought of the public teleportation portals. When he ordered the public teleportation portals to be sealed, he received news that Lin Jun had left through the teleportation portal. He immediately went to investigate and found out that Lin Jun had gone to Tianan. Lu Yang brought his men and teleported to Tianan as well. He found the county governor of Tianan and explained the situation. In the end, he found out that Lin Jun had gone to Yin Mountain. By the time he reached Yin Mountain, 2 hours had passed. Lin Jun had completely disappeared from the Yin Mountain area. No one knew where he went. Lu Yang did not give up and led his men to search for a few days. When they found the private club and teleported again, they arrived at the raging Inferno Prefecture. At this time, Lu Yang had completely lost confidence. Lin Jun was too cunning. This escape plan was completely designed, making it impossible for people to chase after him. Even if he found Lin Jun's whereabouts in the raging Inferno Prefecture, that guy would have crawled hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. Where would he find him? Purple Gold God Tri-Bastard. Don't let me find out about you. Otherwise, I'll tear you to pieces. The furious Lu Yang uploaded the video of Lin Jun's battle to the internet and started a bounty. The title was, Wanted Purple Gold God Tribe Scum Lin Jun. The post introduced Lin Jun's situation. Actually, Lu Yang did not know much about Lin Jun. He only knew that this guy had gravity and could teleport between worlds. He should be a realm king in disguise. At the same time, he was proficient in finger flick sword chi. Based on his experience, he felt that this person was in disguise. The only thing he could be sure of was that he was from the Purple Gold God tribe. If anyone received the news and teleported back to Xinla Prefecture, he would definitely reward them handsomely. However, in the primordial realm, his bounty was only effective within Xinla Prefecture. Outside of Xinla Prefecture, the bounty was invalid. In order to make the bounty more widespread, he even reported the bounty to the Southern Liang Empire, hoping that the empire would also help. However, the empire's efficiency was slow. These administrative agencies were directly under the jurisdiction of the imperial family. For example, after the trial, the young imperial grandson, Liang Chun, had assigned a bounty for it to be effective. Who knew how long it would take to get the young imperial grandson, who was addicted to gambling and battling in the arena, to sign the bounty? The young imperial grandson, Liang Chun, was the son of the crown prince. Although the crown prince had not ascended the throne and had not married a crown princess, he had a concubine. The young imperial grandson was his son. When Liang Chun was young, the concubine had passed away. The young Liang Chun had been following the #1 beauty of southern Liang, Ning Qing Xian, to prepare for the life of a crown princess. His skills were all taught by the crown princess. Now, he could be considered the #1 person in the southern Liang galaxy. Liang Chun and the crown princess had a deep relationship. He had always called her mother. Even though the crown princess had not married the crown prince, he still saw her as his biological mother. If Ning Qingxian was willing to restrain the young imperial grandson, perhaps Liu Yang's bounty could be issued faster. However, Ning Qingxian did not seem to have a good relationship with the crown prince. The two of them had not married and rarely met. The only reason she was willing to bring Liang Chen along was because the crown princess felt that this child had great potential. Under the doting of Ning Qingxian, an immortal powerhouse, and the crown princess, Liang Chen was the little tyrant of southern Liang. It was fine if he protected Ning Qingxian, but it was impossible to restrain him. Therefore, Liu Yang did not dare to have high hopes for this bounty. It was better than nothing. "Buddy, give me a better room." "All right, please go to the second room." Lin Jun came to the second room. It was more than 500 square meters and was the best room in the inn. After entering the room, Lin Jun finally heaved a sigh of relief. He was safe. He did not immediately release Lin Feng from the Dark Star space. Since that fellow liked the Dark Star space, he might as well let him stay there for a while. The first person Lin Jun released was Gu Yunting, who had been beaten unconscious by him. Lin Jun did not have the habit of torturing others. After releasing Gu Yunting, he directly ended his life with a beam of sword energy. Unfortunately, Gu Yunting, a 9th-level world king, was tortured to death by Lin Jun, a nebulous stage martial artist. Moreover, his death was not over. Lin Jun's mental power entered Gu Yunting's spiritual sea and captured his extremely weak soul that was about to collapse. Soul Search. After being busy for so long, Lin Jun could have escaped if he wanted to. He would rather offend an immortal powerhouse to kill Gu Yunting because Gu Yunting's soul force was too valuable. This was a peak 6th level alchemist and also a peak 6th level dark alchemist. Compared to Su Xingyao, this person's alchemy skills had almost reached the peak of perfection. If it weren't for his trivial matters, this person could have even advanced to the 7th level. The God Power Pill recipe was in his hands. According to what Lin Jun knew, Gu Yunting was also proficient in another ancient pill recipe. These were all endless treasures. There was also the Taiyuan sword art. This top-secret manual was also something that Lin Jun wanted to learn. When Gu Yunting had obtained it, it was only because he wanted Lin Jun to keep it for him. When the soul lock technique descended, Gu Yunting's soul screamed and struggled, but it was completely useless. Lin Jun's attitude towards his enemies could be described as stone. Completely ignoring Gu Yunting's pleas for mercy, Lin Jun decisively stripped his memories. In less than 10 minutes, Gu Yunting's soul completely vanished into thin air and became history. Lin Jun sat cross-legged on the bed and began to accept Gu Yunting's sea of memories. Gu Yunting was close to 9,000 years old and could be considered an experienced veteran world king. This person's talent in cultivation was not very strong, and only his sword skills were passable. However, his alchemy knowledge was too vast and rich. Previously, Lin Jun did not understand much about alchemy, but now, he understood everything. It was as if a brand new world had opened its doors to Lin Jun. So flames can be used in this way. No wonder the quality of the pills could not reach the pinnacle grade. Ancient God Power Pill. It is indeed an ancient pill. However, Gu Yunting's flames were not pure enough, and it was not compatible with the cold air. It could only increase the star power by 20%. Now that I have gathered Gu Yunting's knowledge, Su Xingyao's knowledge, and my own understanding, I might be able to increase it to 25% or even 30%. This is his other pill formula. It's actually the inner world nourishing pill. This is too useful for me. It can increase the speed of my dark star space's expansion. The dark alchemy technique is indeed an evil technique. I can't use it easily, but its methods are enough to kill without leaving a trace. If I use it well, it will be a great help to me. The Taiyuan sword technique is indeed a rare sword technique. Strictly speaking, it is even stronger than the common 5 styles of falling stars. I must learn it. The sea of memories washed Lin Jun's mind like a tidal wave. After removing some useless memories, Lin Jun still spent nearly a month absorbing Gu Yunting's knowledge. After grasping Gu Yunting's memories, The first thing Lin Jun wanted to do was to refine some inner-world nourishing pills. First, he would expand the dark star space, and then light up the 5 ghost stars. Chapter 651. He had all the ingredients needed to refine the inner-world nourishing pill. Not only did Lin Jun inherit Gu Yunting's memories, but he also looted his spatial ring. Even Gu Yunting's inner world had been looted by Lin Jun. Some realm kings would store some good stuff in their inner world. As a 6th grade alchemist, his spatial ring was filled with herbs. He even planted some herbs in his inner world. However, the environment in his inner world was much worse than Lin Jun's dark star space. Many precious herbs could not be grown and were mostly common goods. In fact, Lin Jun initially wanted to loot Gu Yunting's bank card. However, after checking, he found that Gu Yunting's bank card was empty. There was only a little more than 4 million in it. After searching through Gu Yunting's memories, Lin Jun found out that this guy had almost gone bankrupt in order to suppress him at the auction house. He had nothing left. Since he had no money, Lin Jun moved all of his medicinal herbs over. Anyway, there was a lot of space in the dark star space. It was very convenient to plant them. A large number of herbs were moved over. The herbs for the inner world nourishing pill were all ready-made. Lin Jun could start the furnace now. After rummaging through the herbs for a while, Lin Jun saw a bone. This is the bone of a Tao Tai. Lin Jun was overjoyed. To neutralize the second god needle of his clone, the bones of the 7 galactic beasts were essential. Among them, the Tao Tai was one of the more difficult ones. He did not expect Gu Yunting to find it here. Great. With this, refining pills will be much more convenient in the future. Satisfied, Lin Jun put away the bone and started refining pills. After inheriting Gu Yunting's memories, Lin Jun's actual alchemy skills had reached 6th grade. Although he might not reach Gu Yunting's level for now, as long as he was given some time to digest what he had learned, his achievements would definitely surpass Gu Yunting's. Because he also had Su Xingyao's memories, the combined power of the two was definitely stronger than Gu Yunting's ability alone. Lin Jun began to concoct pills. Even he himself was shocked by the series of concoctions Lin Jun performed. 10 minutes later, the inner world nourishing pill was successfully refined. It's done. After consuming this batch of nourishing pills, my dark star space will be expanded in 3 days. I can light up the star of 5 ghosts again. After Lin Jun consumed the pills, the dark space immediately buzzed. What's the matter, boss? Is there an earthquake in your inner world? Lin Feng, who was studying a stellar crystal on the stellar fruit tree, fell down from the tree branch and fell flat on his face. Don't worry, we can leave now. Gu Yunting's matter had been completely resolved, so there was no need for them to continue staying here. With a thought, Lin Feng came out of his inner world. Where is this? Why do I feel like I'm very far away from Xianlu County? This is the outskirts of southern Liang. 3,000 miles to the east is southern Liang City. Lin Feng stared blankly for a moment. I'm already so far away from Muwang province. This time, my father shouldn't be able to catch me back home. It's hard to say. It depends on your performance. Lin Feng didn't believe Lin Jun's harmless threat. He immediately looked forward to his future life. Boss, shouldn't the two of us enter southern Liang City? I haven't been here before. With our alchemy skills, we should be able to make a living in southern Liang. What? Are your alchemy skills very strong? Hee. Although I'm not considered strong as a 3rd-grade alchemist, I still have you, boss. Seeing you desperately toss medicinal ingredients into your space these past few days, I have a premonition that your alchemy skills will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Maybe in a few days, you'll become a 6th-grade alchemist. 6th grade. Even in southern Liang, you're already very strong. When I follow you, my status naturally won't be low. Lin Jun looked at Lin Feng speechlessly. How do you know that I'll advance to 6th grade? You should know that I just advanced to 5th grade not long ago. Is it so easy to advance to 5th grade? It's not easy for ordinary people, but boss, you're different. I have a clear feeling that you'll definitely soar to the sky. Nothing can stop you. Really, my premonitions are often very accurate. This is my innate ability. Lin Jun didn't know how to evaluate Lin Feng's ability. Perhaps it was really a unique ability. Moreover, Lin Jun also wanted to stay in Nanliang for a period of time. At the very least, he wanted to obtain the status of a grade 6 alchemist before leaving. One had to know that a grade 6 alchemist was respected everywhere in the primordial realm. Even in the Great Qin Empire where the Phoenix clan resided, a grade 6 alchemist was still very impressive. To see the little phoenix, that was his wife. Of course, Lin Jun also wanted to appear in front of her grandly, not with a shabby appearance. Even if the little phoenix did not mind, her clansmen would probably laugh at her. Not only did he have to advance as an alchemist, but Lin Jun, also wanted to advance to the realm of the domain monarch. Only then would he not be considered a rookie in the Yuan realm. You're right. We should indeed have a place to stay first. How about this? We'll stay here for a few days, then we'll enter the city and find a place to continue opening a medicine shop. As you can see, I have a sea of medicinal ingredients in my space. Okay, I'll follow you wherever you go. In the next few days, Lin Jun began to understand the local conditions and customs of southern Liang. Although he had inherited the memories of 3 people, among the 3 of them, Su Xingyao had never left Xianlu Prefecture. Hua Tai Sui had been to more places, but he mainly focused on playing with women. If he wanted to find a brothel in southern Liang, he would definitely be able to find one. He didn't really care about anything else. Gu Yunting hadn't been to many places either, so he didn't know much about southern Liang. Southern Liang was an empire. Any country that could become a country in the Yuan realm was incomparably huge. For example, if one were to calculate the distance from one end of the fire Qilin to the other, it would be at least 10 billion light years. The area of southern Liang was 4 to 5 times the size of the fire Qilin. If one didn't use a teleportation formation, even if a realm monarch flew from birth to death, he wouldn't be able to fly out of southern Liang's territory. In such a huge place, the prosperity of the country's capital could be said to be greater than any other place in the new territories. Southern Liang's capital was called Flowing Light City. The population in the capital exceeded 4 trillion, and it was located on an incomparably huge plain. The current emperor of southern Liang was called Liang Lai. He had been in the immortal level for more than 10,000 years. The current crown prince was called Liang Jihuan. He had also been in the immortal level for hundreds of years. Liang Lai had been ignoring the imperial court for a long time. In fact, the imperial court was presided over by Liang Jihuan. However, Liang Lai hadn't abdicated and hadn't passed the throne to his son. The main reason was that Liang Jihuan wasn't willing to get married. The reason was that the person he liked, the #1 beauty in southern Liang, Ning Qingxian, had once been showered by Hua Tai Sui. In fact, Ning Qingxian hadn't exposed herself that time. She had her underwear and was even covered with a light gauze. At most, people would only see her graceful figure and the snowy skin on her arms and legs. However, Liang Jihuan couldn't take it anymore. He was engaged to Ning Qingxian and had long regarded her as his empress. For Ning Qingxian, he had only found a woman once in thousands of years. However, he hadn't even appreciated Ning Qingshuan's figure before she was broadcasted by Hua Tai Sui. Although it was normal for women to wear bikinis, that was for ordinary women. Ning Qingxian was going to be the empress, so such a thing was considered a scandal. This matter had always been a knot in Liang Jihuan's heart. He once swore that if he didn't find Hua Tai Sui and tear him into pieces, he wouldn't get married or ascend the throne. The 2 of them, who had a very ordinary relationship, had drifted apart because of this matter. Ning Qingxian focused on her cultivation and took care of her son, Liang Chun, every day. If it weren't for Liang Chun, the 2 of them probably wouldn't have any interactions. When Lin Jun saw this, he felt a little guilty. Liang Jihuan and Ning Qingxian, the 2 immortal-level warriors, couldn't wait to kill Hua Tai Sui. In fact, Hua Tai Sui was already dead. He had been killed by Lin Jun. However, in a sense, Hua Tai Sui was still alive. At least his body was still alive. He was now Lin Jun. If this identity was discovered by them, then there might really be trouble. After all, Ning Qingshuan's 2 frost needles were still in his body, suppressing half of his astral power. One of the needles was called bone piercing, while the other was called heart-piercing. One could imagine how much this woman hated Hua Hua Tai Sui. However, Lin Jun wasn't too worried. Southern Liang City was so big. It was a densely populated place with 4 trillion people. As long as he didn't go to the palace or appear in front of Liang Jihuan and Ning Qingxian, it was basically impossible for him to be discovered. After all, his current appearance was Lin Jun's, not Hua Hua Tai Sui's. I don't believe that I'll be so unlucky to meet the two of them in southern Liang City. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. On the 4th day, Lin Jun's dark astral space had finally expanded with the help of the nourishing pill in his body. He could continue to light up the 5 phantom stars. His mental strength entered the dark astral space and landed on the 5 phantom stars. Before I reach the nebula stage, this is practically my last chance to improve. My current astral power has already reached 980,000 points after cultivation. Lighting up the 5 phantom stars will definitely exceed 1 million points. More than 1 million points of astral power. If I advance to the domain monarch stage, that will be when I'm truly powerful. Lin Jun's mental strength lifted the ominous star map on the 5 phantom stars. A surge of stellar firepower started to surge outwards. The powerful astral power instantly filled the dark astral space. What a powerful astral power. When I lit up Mars, I had about 50,000 points of astral power. When I lit up Moon Stallion, I had about 70,000 points of astral power. This 5 phantom stars is almost comparable to the sum of those 2 stars. Waves of astral power washed over the dark astral space. If one stood on the dark astral space now, they would see the strange scene of 3 suns rising in the sky. However, the one closest to the dark astral space was Mars. That was the sun of the dark astral space. Moon Stallion and the 5 phantom stars were just huge fireballs. There wasn't much light or heat falling on the dark astral space. Otherwise, the plants on the dark astral space wouldn't be able to withstand it. After a few rounds of growth, the astral power of the 5 phantom stars stabilized. It increased by 120,000 points. After lighting up 3 stars, Lin Jun's astral power reached 1 million points. Chapter 652. Actually, it wasn't that Lin Jun didn't want to come, but that he didn't have enough money. According to the rules of the arena, one person was not allowed to challenge repeatedly. There was a time limit. Therefore, when Liang Chen saw that Lin Jun's prize pool was 32 billion, he was tempted. 32 billion was not a small amount. Even though he was the little prince of the southern Liang Empire, he didn't have that much money. He had won some previously, but he had bought a lot of things. Money came and went quickly, so he was tight on cash. Without money, he naturally couldn't win all 32 billion, but he wasn't willing to win too little. Seeing that Lin Jun was quite capable, most people wouldn't be able to win any money from him. Therefore, during this period of time, he had been raising money everywhere, preparing to do something big. Liang Chun had a lot of friends, such as this little prince and that little princess. They all followed his lead. Firstly, Liang Chun was the strongest. He was a level 9 nebula with a star power of 1.03 million. He was the best in the southern Liang Empire. Secondly, Liang Chun was the only little prince of the southern Liang Empire. Of course, he was very respected. Although his father usually ignored him, he had a good mother, or rather, a good stepmother. The number 1 beauty of the southern Liang, Ning Qingxian, had held the title of number 1 beauty for more than 1,000 years. No one had ever shaken her position. Not only was she beautiful, but Ning Qingxian was also a martial arts prodigy. She was a hero among women. The Qingye sect she was in nurtured her greatly, so her cultivation path was very smooth. She was already an immortal expert before she was 2,000 years old. Therefore, not only was she the number 1 beauty of the southern Liang Empire, but she was also the number 1 wonder of the southern Liang Empire. She was a role model for all women. Even after she was secretly photographed bathing, the royal family didn't dare to break off the engagement with Ning Qingxian. Such a stepmother spoiled Liang Chun. This was one of the main reasons why Liang Chun could be so domineering. Although he was domineering, he was still penniless when he needed to be penniless. Liang Chun had been looking for his friends all this time, but these prodigals were spending money like water. They did not have much in their hands. Liang Chun looked at the 32 billion that was hanging there, but he could not get his hands on it. This made Liang Chun very anxious. In desperation, Liang Chun finally decided to look for his mother and see if she could give him some money. The Green Leaf sect was the #1 sect in southern Liang. The sect leader and elders were all immortals. They had always had the habit of forming alliances with the royal family through marriage. As a core disciple of the sect, Ning Qingxian had shown outstanding talent since she was young. Thus, she was engaged to the crown prince Liang Jihuan, who was more than 1,000 years older than her. Now Ning Qingxian was able to establish her own sect. Except for sometimes returning to the sect to take a look, most of the time, she lived in the Zither Sound Villa in southern Liang City. The Zither Sound Villa was a very large courtyard that covered an area of more than 100 square kilometers. It was located in the bustling area of southern Liang. It was a paradise in the bustling city. Liang Chun staggered back and pushed open the door of the Zither Sound Villa. Immediately, a servant came over and prepared a red-crowned crane mount. "Is my mother here?" Liang Chen's mother died early. After being with Ning Qingxian for hundreds of years, he was used to calling her mother. "Your Highness, the crown princess is here." Although Ning Qingxian was never married to the crown prince, the servant was used to calling her that. "Is my mother in a good mood today?" "She seems to be in a good mood. She's playing the zither in the backyard." "Good. As long as she's in a good mood. At least she's easy to talk to." Liang Chun casually threw a few crystal coins to the servant. One crystal coin was 1,000,000. He was such a spendthrift. Otherwise, he would not have so much money left. He rode the red-crowned crane to the backyard. 100 kilometers was covered in the blink of an eye. Getting off the red-crowned crane, Liang Chun tiptoed to the door of the backyard. A string of melodious zither music came from inside. It was like the sound of flowing water from high mountains and pearls falling on a jade plate. Patiently waiting for the zither music to end, Liang Chun was about to use the opportunity of applause to walk in and compliment his mother before talking about money. However, before he could clap, Ning Qingxuan's voice came from inside. "Chin'er, come in. Aren't you tired of holding your breath outside?" Liang Chun looked embarrassed. He poked his head out from outside the door and ran in like a wisp of smoke. "Mother, are you in a good mood today? So what if I'm in a good mood? So what if I'm in a bad mood? Isn't it all the same?" Ning Qingxian stood up. Her lotus-colored dress swayed in the wind. Looking at his mother's face that could make the world lose its color, Liang Chun was entranced. No wonder his father was so infatuated with her. In fact, Liang Chun also had a serious Oedipus complex in his heart. If he couldn't find a beauty like his mother in this lifetime, Liang Chun would rather not get married. However, there was only one Ning Qingxian in this world. How could it be easy to find a woman like her who was a phoenix among men in terms of looks, martial skills, and character? He seemed to have heard that the Phoenix clan had a saintess whose looks were unparalleled. Her beauty was not inferior to his mother's. He didn't know if it was true or not, but Liang Chen most likely didn't believe it. "Mother, I don't see any new flowers in your garden recently. Is it because you don't have much money? If so, your son still has more than 1,000,000,000 here. I could buy more flowers for you." Ning Qingxian walked slowly among the flowers. Her fingers gently brushed across a few flower buds. Strangely enough, the flowers actually bloomed when her fingertips brushed past them. This strange scene made everyone's eyes, including Liang Chen's, stare. Immortal warriors were indeed powerful, but Ning Qingxuan's ability was something that no one else could learn. Standing in front of a tulip, Ning Qingxian turned around and glanced at Liang Chun. "You will give me money? Mother is really touched by your words. However, don't show off your little Huahua mind. If you have something to say, just say it." My mother's eyes are as sharp as torches. Nothing can escape your eyes." Ning Qingxian walked back from the flowers and sat on a beauty's chair. She picked up a simple book and read it. At the same time, she said to Liang Chun, "If you want money, you can, but you have to have a valid reason. If you can convince me, you can take the money. If you can't, you should hurry up and cultivate." Liang Qin's expression turned serious. He coughed and said, "It's like this. There's a madman in the dimensional universe who set up an arena for people to challenge. Furthermore, he doesn't take back the prize money. I've caused trouble for him a few times, and what about a few billion or tens of billions?" Ning Qingxian didn't say anything. She gently flipped the pages of the book. With her black hair and snow-white skin, she was as beautiful as a painting. This time, that madman set up an arena again. I wanted to challenge him to earn some pocket money, but I didn't expect that madman's prize pool to have risen to 32 billion. I have the heart, but not the ability. I have the ability, but no capital to challenge him. I still don't have the money to buy flowers for mother. 32 billion? Do you think your mother is a bank? I don't have that much money. Ning Qingxian gently shook her head and rejected Liang Qin's suggestion. Liang Qin's face fell. All right then, I can only let that madman hoot in front of me. What's the name of that madman you're talking about? Seeing Liang Qin's expression, Ning Qingxian couldn't bear it and asked. His name is Lin Zhen. I've already defeated him several times. Mother, don't worry. As long as I go, I'll definitely get my hands on that 30 billion. Hearing Ning Qingxuan's question, Liang Qin became energetic again. Ning Qingxian pondered for a moment. She felt that something was wrong. 30 billion was not a small amount no matter where it was. That Lin Zhen, a nebula stage martial artist, dared to just leave it there and not take it. It was clear that this person had absolute confidence. But looking at Liang Qin's confident look, Ning Qingxian also knew that with his strength, it would be difficult for him to meet an opponent in the nebula stage. Maybe this really was an opportunity. Moreover, Ning Qingxian felt that since Lin Zhen was very strong, he should have the pride of being strong. Are you sure that person isn't a liar? Absolutely not. This person has already set up an arena in the nebula stage arena for several years. My friends have all challenged him. There were wins and losses. He is indeed very strong, just a little bit weaker than me. If it wasn't for me, no one would be able to challenge his arena. All right, Ning Qingxian nodded. I'll transfer the money to you now. But remember, after the challenge is over, you have to get back my capital. Also, put another 20 billion with me for safekeeping. Otherwise, you'll be spending money too quickly. Deal. I promise I won't let you down. 12 billion was good. Liang Qin immediately agreed. After all, he could always ask for more if he ran out of money. Ning Qingxian transferred 32 billion to Liang Qin. Liang Qin immediately left in high spirits. Watching Liang Qin leave, Ning Qingxuan's maid asked, Miss, do you think that Lin Zhen is a liar? Hard to say. According to Chen Er's description, this Lin Zhen should be a strong person. As a strong person, he should have the strength of a strong person. He shouldn't be a liar. How can there be such a shameless person in this world? Ning Qingxian continued to read as she spoke. However, the maid beside her disagreed. Miss thought too highly of people. Who knew how many greedy bastards there were in the outside world? Lin Zhen might be such a person. Boss, are we going to the city today? That's right. Let's prepare to leave now. Lin Zhen looked at Lin Feng, who was packing his things and couldn't wait to go to the big city to broaden his horizons. He felt a little regretful. Today was the last day of the 3 months that he had set up the arena. Back then, he had set up the arena so that he could only collect his capital every 3 months. If the royal family member who challenged him today did not come, then all his efforts would have been in vain. Time and fate. If it's not mine, I won't be able to get it. Lin Zhen followed Lin Feng out. In order to enter the city, this guy had specially changed into a new set of clothes and made himself look flashy. It was as if he was going to go on a blind date. Outside the door, the snow-white unicorn and the gorgeous carriage were all bought by Lin Feng with his own money. According to him, he didn't want others to think that he was a country bumpkin. However, in Lin Zhen's eyes, this kind of behavior was like a poor man suddenly becoming rich. The two of them checked out of the inn and got on the carriage. Just as they were about to leave, a notification came from the dimensional universe. Chapter 653. Lin Zhen was stunned when he heard the challenge. He hadn't heard the challenge for a while, because Lin Zhen had set the starting amount to 100 million in the arena settings. Anyone who challenged anything lower than that shouldn't disturb Lin Jun. Lin Jun's arena had long passed the initial hot stage. Those who could cultivate to the nebulous stage weren't fools. No one would throw money into the water. Even if they were fearless newborns, they would have grown old after repeated failures. Moreover, too many people who thought they were strong enough to defeat Lin Jun couldn't even take out 100 million in cash. Every day, there would be a group of people leaving comments below Lin Jun's ring, saying that he was a coward, a piece of trash, and that if he had the guts, he should raise the prize money to 100,000 per round. He would definitely beat Lin Jun so badly that even his mother wouldn't recognize him. Lin Jun had already automatically blocked such trash. He was really busy and didn't have time to play with these people. Therefore, ever since the minimum challenge amount was set to 100 million, the arena had been quiet and hadn't sounded for a few days. Therefore, Lin Jun immediately entered the dimensional universe to take a look. Indeed, it was the challenger from before. Lin Feng, drive your car slowly. Don't let any accidents happen. I have something to do in the dimensional universe. Boss, don't worry. The speed will definitely not exceed 3,000 kilometers per hour. Lin Jun nodded and stayed in the car, entering the dimensional arena again. This challenger's name was hidden. Lin Jun didn't care. Many times, it was better not to know. Surnamed Lin, this young master hasn't been here for the past few days because of some matters. You've been living quite comfortably. Do you think you can take away 32 billion easily? Are you praying to the gods and Buddha that I won't appear? You didn't expect me to appear on the last day, right? Are you sad? Are you desperate? Want to cry, but have no tears? Ha ha! Lin Jun looked at the crazy guy in front of him and sneered. I'm not sad. I'm just bored. A poor and pedantic kid, like you can only challenge a few billion, even if you come. It's boring. You're the poor one. I'm going to take your 32 billion today. The bet was successful. Lin Jun saw that this person had indeed bet 32 billion. Very good. Today, I'll let you take back everything you won against me. Lin Jun had been waiting for this day for a long time. He raised his hand and took out his yin-yang spear. Comet fall. A comet with a long tail smashed towards Liang Chun. Liang Chun drew his sword to meet it. This move again. It's useless against me. Violent energy shockwaves rolled out around the two of them. The two of them separated and regrouped, and they were like two beams of light fighting against each other. The moment Liang Chun exchanged blows, he felt that today's Lin Jun was somewhat different. A black and white spear spun like a venomous dragon. Once the spear was shot out, the attacks behind were endless. Moreover, in the process of exchanging blows, he actually felt that Lin Jun's spear was becoming heavier and heavier. In the past, he had never felt this kind of feeling. You've indeed hidden your trump card. Unfortunately, you're still no match for me. Liang Chun felt that Lin Jun's star power was not inferior to his, but he was not afraid. He also had a trump card. The ancient sword technique that Ning Qingxian had imparted to him was now being used. With Lin Jun's current star power, if he used satellite fall, he would definitely be able to kill Liang Chun in one blow. However, just as he was about to attack, he suddenly had an idea and did not kill him immediately. He fought with Liang Chun. At one point, he even seemed to be a little weak. The two of them fought for a full 30 minutes. This was almost unimaginable for an expert. It meant that the two of them were very close in strength. In the later stages of the fight, Liang Chun was suppressing Lin Jun. It was not until 30 minutes later that Lin Jun could not hold on any longer. Suddenly, he risked his life and threw out his spear and knives, attacking Liang Chun from all directions. Lin Jun took this opportunity to pounce. He would rather have his chest pierced through by the long sword than to use the phantom sword to stab Liang Chun's chest at the same time. Both of them fell to the ground. However, Lin Jun had the body of a black hole beast, which was extremely strong. When Liang Chun was judged to be dead, he was still alive. Therefore, the system judged that Lin Jun won. Looking at Liang Chun, who was lying on the ground with an unwilling expression, Lin Jun smiled obnoxiously. Kid, the tables have turned. You're indeed stronger than me. If this was a real battle, I would have died. However, this is the arena. I can still hold on for a while. So, I'll accept your money. You've won tens of billions from me. It's not too much for me to ask for 20 billion in interest, right? As Lin Jin spoke, he waved his hand at Liang Chun. Liang Chen's consciousness blurred for a moment before he returned to the real world in the next moment. F***CK. Liang Chun viciously kicked the table in the room into pieces. The veins on his forehead bulged. He never expected that Lin Jun would have improved again. No wonder he dared to set up a 32 billion arena. Even so, he still thought that he should have one. It was his sword that pierced Lin Jun's chest first. Lin Jun's body was relatively stronger and could only hold on for a while longer. Damn it, if I wasn't careless, I would have more than 60 billion in my hands now. Liang Chun clenched his fist in pain. He had no idea how to explain this to his mother. Before he could think of an idea, Ning Qingxian, who was in the dimensional universe, had already asked him to go over. Liang Chun helplessly went to the back garden with his head hung low. Looking at Liang Chen's appearance, Ning Qingxian frowned slightly. Chun'er, did you lose? I should have one. A loss is a loss. How can you say that you should have one? Ning Qingxian did not seem to be anxious. It's like this. Liang Chun immediately recounted the battle. When he went in, he was mocked by Lin Jun for being poor. Liang Chun was so angry that he forgot to record it. He could only recount the final result. Ning Qingxian listened to him and nodded. If that's the case, you didn't lose. You only lost because of your opponent's decisiveness and the dimensional arena's special environment. That's right, that's right. If it was a real battle, both of us would have suffered losses at most. Moreover, if I wasn't careless at the last moment, he wouldn't even have had the chance to suffer losses. I knew my son wouldn't lose to others. Ning Qingxian first comforted Liang Chun. Then, she said, however, you lost 32 billion after all. I won't ask you for this money. However, you can't take any money from me for the next 30 years. Mother, don't worry. I'll definitely earn this money back. Liang Chun promised solemnly. Ning Qingxian smiled and continued to read her book. Liang Chen's heart was filled with guilt. He walked out of the back garden angrily. No one knew where he went. The maid said to Ning Qingxian, "Young miss, are you really not going to give young master any money? Of course, it's time to train him. He can't always live under my protection. Moreover, according to his way of losing money, no amount of money will be enough. It's good to polish his character first. Then, young miss, do you think young master can really win the dimensional arena?" According to Chun-er, although Lin Jun's strength is slightly inferior to Chun-er, his battle awareness should be very strong. It should be a 50-50 chance. Chun-er lost this time because of bad luck. But I think that Lin Jun must be a liar. He's deliberately baiting young master. Ning Qingxian revealed a bright smile. Even if he is, this time he won more than 30 billion and should stop. As long as Chun-er can grow a little, spending 32 billion is nothing. Just treat it as buying a lesson. As for Lin Jun, I still believe that someone who can cultivate to the top of the same level won't have such a bad heart. The maid behind Ning Qingxian slightly curled her lips. She thought that the young miss was sometimes too pedantic. She actually believed that wolves didn't eat meat. That Lin Jun was definitely 100% a greedy and shameless liar. She had to be more alert. It seemed that young master would challenge Lin Jun again. She had to gather evidence. She had to wake the young miss up. She couldn't let young master be deceived anymore. In order to set up this trap, Lin Jun only had a few tens of millions on him. This time, he received 64 billion in one go. It could be said that he got back his capital and interest. Ha ha ha. Lin Jun laughed a few times in the carriage. Lin Feng immediately asked, "Boss, what's the good news? Is getting rich a good thing?" "Of course it's a good thing. Congratulations, boss." Lin Jun transferred 1 billion to Lin Feng this time. Lin Feng was so happy that he couldn't find north. He began to hum a little tune while driving the carriage. Lin Jun received more than 60 billion, but he didn't stay idle. Instead, he set up an arena with 10 billion. He realized that the challenger belonged to the same battle zone as him, so he didn't cross the entire primordial realm. Instead, he crossed the entire Great Region. This was specially prepared for this challenger. The meaning was clear. The money was here. Come and get it if you have the guts. Lin Jun thought that the kid would add him as a friend, but he didn't. Instead, he left a message on Lin Jun's arena. Don't be arrogant. I'll be back soon. Lin Jun happily closed the dimensional universe. She had been waiting for this sentence from him. Since he was a member of the royal family, he must be very rich. It would be a waste if Lin Jun didn't win. Lin Jun's strategy was to give him the hope of winning every time and then lose every time. He would fool him as many times as he could until the kid completely woke up. But looking at him, he wouldn't wake up until 3 to 5 times. The carriage gradually entered the city gate. Southern Liang City Gate had a total of 100 gates. Each gate was as wide as the Three Gorges project, ensuring that pedestrians could pass through freely. Lin Feng, let's get off the carriage and walk into the city. Keep a low profile. The more Lin Jun looked at the carriage, the more uncomfortable he felt. The aura of a nouveau riche really annoyed him. The two of them got off the carriage, and Lin Feng directly stored the carriage into his inner world. He raised his head and immersed himself in the crowd. He felt the bustling crowd around him. On the huge city gate tower, the words Southern Liang were majestic. Chapter 654. Old Fourth, you have to do me a favor this time. I'm really tight on money now. Lend me 10 billion. Oh, forget it. What have you been up to recently, Miss G? Ha, I'm still the same. Can you lend me 8 billion? Ah, all right then. Young Master Ma, why haven't you come to the palace to play with me recently? Are you interested? What? You want to borrow money from me? I don't even have money for my next meal. You want to borrow money from me? No. Liang Chun hung up the dimensional universe angrily. Although he was the imperial grandson, when it came to such a huge sum of money, not many of his friends could afford it. If it was someone with money, they might not give him face. His face was not worth that much. Your Highness, these are the latest wanted posters from various places. Please sign and approve them. Another wanted poster. I don't want to care about this. I don't want to see it. Liang Chun leaned back his chair and refused to look. Your Highness, these wanted posters have been piling up for almost 5 years. There are almost 1,000 people. The various places are quite anxious. Look, what kind of bastards are on the wanted posters? There's a lot of them. There are murderers, firemen, robbers. In short, there are all kinds of people. They're all great bandits. Even the heavens are angry with them. However, it's too slow to issue a warrant at the county level. So, I hope the Empire can issue a warrant. Liang Chun rubbed his forehead. He felt a headache coming on as he looked at the pile of wanted posters on the table. However, he was in charge of this after all. He could not just ignore it. He thought for a moment and had an idea. How about this? Go and reply to the various places. They can issue a wanted poster, but they'll have to pay a fee of 1 billion. Whoever pays the fee will be the poster. Those who don't pay can wait. I'll take a look when I'm in the mood. Your Highness, is this appropriate? Why don't we ask the Crown Princess? How dare you? Do you have to disturb my mother for such a small matter? I'm telling you, do as I say. Otherwise, I'll break your legs. The officials under him did not dare to say anything else. He was the imperial grandson. Killing them would be like killing an ant. It was better not to offend him. As the news spread, some counties began to send money to Liang Chun. After all, anyone who could be wanted by the Empire would definitely be guilty of heinous crimes. Although 1 billion was not a small amount, it was still worth it. Regardless of whether the wanted criminal could be caught or not, at least it would make His Royal Highness happy. Liang Chun was secretly happy when he saw a 1 billion yuan transfer appear at his card. He applauded his own ingenuity. At the same time, he also told his subordinates that whoever had transferred the money could send out the wanted posters they had submitted. Once he had saved up 10 billion, he would immediately challenge Lin Jun again. Liang Chen's mind was occupied with nothing but trying to recoup his losses as quickly as possible and win all of Lin Jun's money. This Liang Chun, he actually asked for 1 billion just to issue a wanted order. How greedy! Within Xianlu County, Liu Yang looked at the notice from above and frowned. At this time, someone had already transferred the money to Liang Chun, but Liu Yang did not want to transfer the money so quickly. Gu Yunting is dead, leaving behind a mess. Everything needs money. Let's wait for things here to stabilize. Once there are profits, we can transfer money to His Highness. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. After Lin Jun and Lin Feng entered the city, they sat down in an open-air tavern near the city gate. This kind of tavern was different from other taverns. It was built under a large tree, and the area under the tree's shade was enclosed. Above, the trees rustled, and below, the aroma of wine and food wafted. The environment was very good. Bamboo fences separated the rooms, and one could vaguely see the situation in the rooms next door. Lin Feng walked over and could not take another step forward. He pulled Lin Jun over to eat. "Waiter, pick out the best wine and give our boss 10 bottles. Give us 10 of the best dishes. Our boss has a huge appetite," Lin Feng said noisily. Lin Jun glanced at him. This brat was a typical example of a poor man suddenly becoming rich. He did not know how to show off. "Okay, coming right up." The waiter had seen many rich people, so he was not surprised. Soon, he served Lin Jun and the others a table full of wine and food. "Boss, you must be tired. Eat and drink. I think you can drink a bottle of wine without a problem," Lin Feng said as he placed a bottle of wine in front of Lin Jun. He had 9 bottles of wine on his side. Lin Jun didn't mind his narrow-mindedness. She observed the situation around her. After arriving at southern Liang, his plan was very clear. After familiarizing himself with the situation, he would go to the Alchemist Guild and obtain the qualification to become a level 6 alchemist. Then, he would cultivate to the Star Dome main stage in southern Liang. After that, he would immediately go to Great Qin to find the little phoenix. It would take him more than 10 years to do all these things. There were still 20 years until the date he had agreed to meet the little phoenix. There was enough time. Looking at the bustling crowd in southern Liang, Lin Jun felt a little emotional. When he was on Earth, he thought that there were many people on Earth. Now, compared to the primordial realm, the people on Earth would not even make a splash in the capital city of southern Liang. Moreover, among the many countries in the primordial realm, southern Liang was one of the smaller ones. He did not know what the situation on Earth was like. When he was done with the little phoenix and became a world king, he could buy a wormhole egg and return to the new territories to bring his family over. Just as Lin Jun was thinking, a voice came from the room next door. "Deacon Feng, I'll treat you to a drink. I'll drink with you." A crisp voice sounded. Lin Jun felt that it was very familiar. He turned around abruptly and saw a few people sitting together. Sitting on the main seat was a person wearing an alchemist's robe. There were 4 golden stars on his chest. He was a deacon. Beside him were 2-star Sector Level 9 bodyguards. It was a very imposing scene. On the other side were 3 people. 2 were Star Domain stage men. One was a Level 7 martial artist, and the other was a woman in a pink dress. Her back was facing Lin Jun as she toasted the alchemist. Although Lin Jun could not see her face, he recognized her at a glance. She was actually from Earth, Zhao Xiaoman. Lin Jun and Zhao Xiaoman had not seen each other for 800 or 900 years. Ever since Lin Jun went to the Heavenly Gate, he had not seen Zhao Xiaoman again. At that time, Zhao Xiaoman was no longer on Earth. Lin Jun did not know where she went. He did not see her in the Heavenly Gate because Lin Jun did not stay there for long. He had been sealed for 700 years. Zhao Xiaoman might have come to the primordial realm when Lin Jun was sealed. Lin Jun could feel the star power fluctuations on Zhao Xiaoman's body from behind. She had just passed the nebula stage and was now a level 1 region king. This was very normal. Although Lin Jun's cultivation was very fast now, he had been delayed for 700 years. It was normal for the genius warriors from back then to gradually catch up. Just like Lin Jun's wife, Su Mingyue, and Ning. Lin Jun guessed that they were probably realm kings now. However, Lin Jun did not immediately reunite with Zhao Xiaoman. She seemed to be with her friends. It seemed that the little girl from back then had a new life now. Elder Feng held his wine glass and glanced at Zhao Xiaoman's face for a while before chuckling and drinking. The level 5-star sector level man beside Zhao Xiaoman said, "Sister Xiaoman, this Deacon Feng is a big shot. He knows many high-ranking officials and powerful warriors. The frost antidote he refined is very famous on the market. It can neutralize pill poison and fire poison. Its effect is surprisingly good. You can't even buy it when you queue up. Another level 7-star sector level also said, yes, although Deacon Feng is only a deacon, he has a very high status in the Alchemist Guild. Not only is he proficient in refining pills with fire, but he also cultivates cold air. This is too rare among alchemists. Therefore, even the guild elders have to give face to Deacon Feng. Zhao Xiaoman put down her wine glass, as if she was not used to the smell of wine. Then, she blinked a few times. So powerful. You can actually cultivate both ice and fire. How did you do it, Deacon Feng? Deacon Feng pinched the goatee on his chin and said in a somewhat reserved manner, Miss Xiaoman, your question is a bit abrupt. These are all secrets of alchemists that aren't passed on to others. If I tell you, would I still have a bowl of rice? Don't mind it, Deacon Feng. Xiaoman hasn't been in our team for long. She's not sensible and has said something wrong. Xiaoman, hurry up and toast Deacon Feng. The pill poison in our bodies is still counting on Deacon Feng's pills to neutralize it. Zhao Xiaoman was a little flustered. She hurriedly poured wine for Deacon Feng. Deacon Feng had a straight face and did not move for a long time. The few of them apologized for a while. In the end, Zhao Xiaoman pinched her nose and drank 3 times the amount. Only then did Deacon Feng drink the wine. Lin Jun saw clearly from behind. The 2 men with Xiaoman looked a little pale. This was a sign that pill poison had entered their bodies. In fact, there were many martial artists like this. In order to cultivate faster, they took a lot of pills. However, they did not have Lin Jun's physique to neutralize pill poison. The pill poison in their bodies accumulated more and more. Buying pills to neutralize pill poison was also very expensive. With the mentality of saving as much as possible, they suppressed the poison. It was like a smoker. Smoking 1 or 2 pills was nothing. But if they had the same mentality every day, their lungs would be filled with smoke poison and they would not be able to clean it up. Such people were mainly concentrated in the middle and lower level martial artists. For example, Zhao Xiaoman's team was obviously a team of adventurers. The 2 men were clearly adventurers. They came to Deacon Feng to buy pills. They probably wanted to go through the back door and spend less money. However, Zhao Xiaoman asked them softly, could it be that girls were easier to talk to? Lin Jun was a little unhappy when he saw this. At this time, a world king behind Deacon Feng said, Deacon Feng has recently been researching a new type of pill. Once the research is successful, he will be promoted to a 5th-grade alchemist and become an elder of the guild. Ayaya. Then I'm sorry. Elder Feng, we congratulate you. Xiaoman, quickly toast Elder Feng. Zhao Xiaoman raised her head and said unhappily, do you still want to drink? But I really don't want to drink anymore. Chapter 655. Officer Feng was about to leave, and the 2 galactic warriors hurriedly stood up. Officer Feng, no. Elder Feng, please don't lower yourself to Xiaoman's level. She just came from the new territories a few decades ago and is a typical country girl. She doesn't know what it means to be an elder of the Alchemist Guild. Please don't take her words to heart. Then, the level 7 region monarch said sternly to Xiaoman, Zhao Xiaoman, are you still a member of the Fire Cloud team? Do you know that everyone is living frugally to save money to buy antidotes for elixir toxins? Me, your big brother Li, and Sister Cece and Big Brother Meng, who didn't come today, the 4 of us urgently need antidotes for elixir toxins. Have you calculated how much money is needed? Zhao Xiaoman pouted and sulked. This was the level 5-star sector level Big Brother Li, who was beside him, also earnestly advising. Xiaoman, Captain Han is right. Our team struggles to survive every day and goes out to train. How can we earn money if we don't improve our skills? Do we need elixirs to improve our skills? Elixirs will cause elixir toxins. We can't even afford to buy the elemental gathering elixir. Elixir toxins can't be taken lightly. Do you want the 4 of us to die from the poison? Zhao Xiaoman said sullenly. Then you can buy some less toxic ones. Easy for you to say. Give me the money. I'll go buy it now. Captain Han shouted sternly. Zhao Xiaoman didn't have the money. Most of the native warriors in the primordial realm didn't have the money, much less a nobody from the new territories like her. After Lin Jun left, Zhao Xiaoman also went out to train. She wandered in the new territories for many years and didn't have much money to begin with. Later on, she cultivated to level 9 star system in the heavenly gates and finally came to the primordial realm through the heavenly gates. However, she realized that the few universe crystals she had accumulated were useless in the primordial realm. In the end, she was lucky to have met this adventurer team. There were 4 people in the team, 3 men and 1 woman. Zhao Xiaoman was the youngest in the team. This team wasn't completely at the bottom. It was at least a star sector level team, and domain monarchs had some status in the primordial realm. However, they were all domain monarchs, and it was too costly to cultivate. They often could not make ends meet, and elixirs were a huge expense. Back then, everyone was too eager for quick success and consumed too many pills, resulting in the accumulation of pill toxins. Now that the situation wasn't looking good, they didn't have enough money to buy good antidote pills. In the end, through their connections, they found this alchemist guild's Deacon Fong and wanted to buy some cheap pills from him. Unexpectedly, this Deacon Fong was trying to make things difficult for him, and the way he looked at Zhao Xiaoman was also not right, which led to the current situation. Seeing that Zhao Xiaoman had stopped talking, Captain Han said to her, "Xiaoman, be a good girl. Go sit next to Elder Fong and have a few drinks with him. Today's public relations mission is all on you. We are counting on you." With that, Captain Han pushed Zhao Xiaoman towards Deacon Fong. Zhao Xiaoman was stuck between a rock and a hard place. On the other side, Deacon Feng's eyes were glowing green. Looking at this beauty from the new territories, he was almost drooling. The way he saw it, as long as the other party had a favor to ask of him, Zhao Xiaoman would not be able to escape. On the other side, Lin Jun couldn't bear to watch anymore. Of course, in this big world, this kind of thing happened countless times every day. Lin Jun wouldn't care about other people, but not Zhao Xiaoman. He stood up and walked toward the other side. "Xiaoman." Zhao Xiaoman had been pushed to Deacon Feng's side. She was struggling when she suddenly heard someone calling her. It was as if a bolt of lightning flashed through her mind. This voice was so familiar. Before she turned around, her eyes were already filled with tears. "Big Brother Lin." Zhao Xiaoman suddenly turned around and saw Lin Jun standing there like a tree in the wind. She instantly burst into tears and ran all the way to Lin Jun's side, throwing herself into Lin Jun's embrace. "Sob sob. Big Brother Lin, am I dreaming? How can you be here? I haven't seen you for almost 1,000 years, right?" Lin Jun gently stroked Zhao Xiaoman's hair and laughed. "Of course you're not dreaming. Isn't there a saying in our hometown that goes if fate brings us together 1,000 miles away? Looks like we siblings are fated." "Yes, we're fated. I can even meet you in such a big primordial realm. Do you know? Actually, the person I wanted to meet the most was you. But after the dimensional universe came here, I couldn't find the original person." "Me too. None of my friends from back then are now. I can only slowly search for them. But luckily, I met Xiaoman today. This Southern Liang wasn't a wasted trip." Deacon Feng's expression turned ugly when he saw the beauty in someone else's embrace. However, Deacon Feng was also more shrewd. He didn't flare up immediately. Instead, he wanted to find out who this new kid was. This person's realm was not worth mentioning. He was only at the nebulous stage. However, Deacon Feng didn't want to offend anyone around a big shot. But when he heard that, he was immediately fuming. He thought it was some big shot, but he didn't expect him to be from the new territories. From his tone, he seemed to be from the same planet as Zhao Xiaoman. This time, Deacon Feng suddenly felt emboldened. He threw the wine glass heavily. Crack! The wine glass shattered on the ground. "Where did this country bumpkin come from? Don't you know where you are? Flirting with a girl? Why? Are you touched by meeting an old friend in a foreign land? If that's the case, do you want me to give you a place to catch up?" Being praised as an elder by the surrounding people, Deacon Feng dared to call himself an elder in front of these small figures. After all, an elder sounded much more impressive than a deacon. Deacon Feng's sudden outburst caught everyone off guard. Team leader Han stood up directly and said to Zhao Xiaoman, "Xiaoman, don't forget why we're here today. Sit down quickly." Zhao Xiaoman reluctantly got out of Lin Jun's arms and wanted to pull Lin Jun to sit down with her. Captain Han waved his hand at Lin Jun. "Little brother, I know you're from Xiaoman's hometown. You must have a lot to talk about after not seeing each other for over 1,000 years. But you have to be smart and look at the situation. Today, we're having a banquet with Elder Phone, so you don't have to join us. How about this? You can order a few dishes and a bottle of wine, but don't spend more than $2,000. Today, I'll treat you. Later. No, tomorrow. Xiao Man will have time to talk to you. Team leader Han said a lot. He thought he was giving Lin Jun a lot of face. After all, Lin Jun looked like he was only at the nebulous stage. Zhao Xiaoman's hair stood on end as soon as she heard those insulting words. She could be insulted, but Lin Jun was definitely not. Zhao Xiaoman also knew some things about Lin Jun. After being sealed in the Elysium for 700 years, Big Brother Lin's realm was even lower than hers now. Zhao Xiaoman's heart was filled with jealousy when she thought of how heroic Big Brother Lin was in the new territories. Team leader, don't look down on Big Brother Lin. He was a top genius in the new territories. However, he was delayed by some things. As long as Big Brother Lin has some time, he will definitely be able to make a name for himself in the Yuan realm. Okay. Even if you're right, Xiao Man, we still have to live our lives now. Little brother, can you be more self-aware? Don't stand behind a woman. Don't you think you're an eyesore here? I really don't think I'm an eyesore. Lin Jun directly sat beside Zhao Xiaoman. If my sister wasn't here, you wouldn't have the right to ask me to sit here. However, since my sister is here, I really can't leave. I don't want her to be bullied. Zhao Xiaoman's eyes were filled with tears. In her opinion, Lin Jun was now in dire straits, but his personality had not changed. He was still able to protect her. Just based on this point alone, even if she had to fall out with him today, she had to protect Lin Jun. Lin Jun obviously saw through Zhao Xiaoman's thoughts, but he didn't explain it now. Team leader Han's expression changed a few times. He didn't expect Lin Jun to be so stubborn. Moreover, he wasn't a big shot and was used to being cautious. He really didn't dare to offend Lin Jun. Although he was the one treating today, the real host should be Manager Feng. Hence, he turned his gaze to Manager Feng. Deacon Feng felt that he had been left out, and his expression was extremely ugly. He looked at Lin Jun and said sinisterly, "Young man, this is the Yuan realm, not the small planet of your hometown. It's best to be careful when you speak and do things here. You'd better consider the words alchemist carefully." Lin Jun sneered. "How should I address you?" "This is Elder Feng," the man surnamedly immediately answered. "Oh, Elder Feng." Lin Jun dragged out his voice, then suddenly said sternly, "As far as I know, alchemists have a strict hierarchy. Since you're an elder, why do you only have 4 gold stars on your chest? It seems like I should go to the guild and ask if a 4-star alchemist can be an elder." Lin Jun's words immediately hit Manager Feng's sore spot. If this matter was brought to the guild, he would definitely be punished. What elder? I'm just a deacon. They're just spouting nonsense." "Nonsense? You dare to agree to what others say? What kind of alchemist are you if you don't care about your rank?" Manager Feng felt that there was a loophole in Lin Jun's words and immediately said, "What right do you have to question whether I'm an alchemist or not?" Lin Jun laughed. "I heard it clearly just now. You claimed that you cultivated both ice and fire and refined antidote pills. Then let me ask you, where's your ice power?" "TSK. Of course I have ice power. Otherwise, how can I refine antidote pills? Is that so? Then take it out and show it to me. However, I have to remind you that the power of ice obtained through props has very poor detoxification effects. If you really use the power of ice and fire with your bare hands, not only will I apologize to you today, I will also give you 100 million as compensation on the spot. If you can't take it out, then I will have to go to the Alchemist Guild to talk about the matter of you pretending to be an elder. I believe that President Nayland, Vice President Dwayne, Great Elder Sima, Great Elder Yu, and Great Elder Charles will all be very interested in this matter." The few people that Lin Jun mentioned were the higher-ups of the Alchemist Guild. Of course, this memory came from Gu Yunting. Lin Jun didn't recognize them, but it didn't stop him from using them as a shield. Hearing Lin Jun mention the higher-ups of the Alchemist Guild, Manager Feng was instantly dumbfounded. This person really had a background. Chapter 656. Deacon Feng's face turned gloomy. He didn't expect this brat from the new territories to be so difficult to deal with. He even used the elder's matter to threaten him. Taking a deep breath, Deacon Feng said, "Little brother, I've already said that they call me that. I've already revealed my identity. As for how many times they call me that, I'm too lazy to correct them. If you insist on bringing this matter to the guild, I'll be punished at most, but your friends will be finished. They won't be able to get my pills anymore." Hee hee, your pills? Can your pills be detoxified? It's okay if you don't have the ability to cultivate both ice and fire, but it's wrong of you to use this to cheat others. What nonsense are you talking about? Who can cultivate both ice and fire now? Other than the guild master, even the great elders don't have this ability. If you want to find someone who can cultivate both ice and fire, you'll never find one in your life. Just as he was speaking, his saliva was flying everywhere, and he saw that on Lin Jun's finger, the icy air and the flames were intertwined, and they were inseparable. Go on. What do you mean you'll never find one in your life? I'm sitting right in front of you. Can't you see that I'm an adult? You. How can you have the power of ice and fire at the same time? Deacon Feng's face turned ugly. Existence is reason. Do I need to explain so much to you? Oomph. So what if you do? You can't make pills just because you have ice and fire. An alchemist needs a huge amount of resources to cultivate. It takes thousands of years of practice to achieve something. Even if you have fire and ice, it's useless if you don't know how to make pills. They'll still come to me for pills. That's before. From now on, they won't need it. Lin Jun said as he looked at Zhao Xiaoman, "Xiaoman, don't ask this kind of scum to work for you in the future. If you need any pills, come to me. I'll buy them for you." Brother Lin, Zhao Xiaoman didn't know how to express her feelings at this moment. She really wanted to agree to Lin Jun, but in her heart, Lin Jun was just pretending. That pill was extremely expensive, and if Lin Jun really wanted to buy it, he probably wouldn't have that much money. Deacon Feng was repeatedly contradicted by Lin Jun. He couldn't help but be furious in his heart. He had the thought of using force. But just as he was about to order his bodyguards to take action, he saw that on the other side of the bamboo fence, a somewhat sloppy-looking Kai was looking at him gloomily. His gaze made him shudder. Lin Feng had been holding it in for a long time. He wanted to go over and teach these people a lesson, but Lin Jun had warned him not to act rashly in the dimensional universe. He could only drink here and keep attacking Manager Feng with his eyes. Unfortunately, the other party didn't see him. He was about to explode from holding it in. It was not easy for Deacon Feng to finally see him. The anger that he had been holding back for a long time was all expressed in his eyes. His eyes glinted with killing intent. This time, Deacon Feng was really frightened. Even with the two domain monarch bodyguards, he wasn't a match for a Kai. A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. It seemed like he couldn't take advantage of Lin Feng today. The Lin Jun in front of him was also shrouded in a mysterious veil, which made Deacon Feng timid. Unless they were in the Alchemist Guild's territory, he didn't have the courage to face Lin Jun. He was thinking about how to get off the stage and leave. Before he could think of a way to speak, the man with the surname Li was furious. "Xiaoman, what's wrong with this friend of yours? He's been nagging and nitpicking ever since he came. How dare he talk to Elder Feng, Deacon Feng like that? Isn't he intentionally trying to undermine us? Will he really give us money if we can't buy the pill? Look at his poor and pedantic appearance. Who would believe such nonsense?" As he spoke, he even stood up. "Xiaoman, hurry up and make this fellow apologize to Deacon Feng." Zhao Xiaoman's expression was very ugly. Of course, she wouldn't make Lin Jun apologize, but her teammate was angry. She was also in a difficult position. If she wasn't in this team, she would lose her source of income. Now that she saw Big Brother Lin in such a miserable state, Zhao Xiaoman secretly planned to earn more money. She was even willing to support Big Brother Lin, so she didn't dare to fall out with the team. Lin Jun didn't make things difficult for Zhao Xiaoman. Instead, he said slowly, "I guess Deacon Feng won't make me apologize. Everything has a cause and effect. Deacon Feng, if I were you, I would make a decision now." Deacon Feng glanced at Lin Feng again. Lin Feng clenched his fists. He was so anxious that he didn't know what expression to make. He simply bared his teeth fiercely at Deacon Feng as if he wanted to eat him. Deacon Feng was really shocked by this crazy-looking Kai. This was the city gate. If the other party got agitated and got rid of him, then ran away, he was afraid that the Alchemist Guild wouldn't be able to avenge him for a while. Deacon Feng made up his mind and made up his mind. Suddenly, he took a big step forward and swung his arm at the man with the surname, Li, who was yelling at Lin Jun. Then he slapped him hard on the face. Pa! With a loud slap. The man surnamed Li fell to the ground with stars in his eyes. Deacon Feng, what are you doing? What am I doing? If the road is not smooth, everyone will step on it. You, a man, are shouting at a woman to show off? Are you trying to show that you're very capable? I'm the Alchemist Guild's deacon. Since young, I've never let sand in my eyes. Don't try this in front of me. Let me tell you, what do you want to buy your pills? You want to get in through the back door here? No way. The man surnamed Li was beaten until he spat out blood, but he didn't even dare to speak loudly. He dared to flip out at Lin Jun, but he didn't dare to say a single harsh word to Deacon Feng. After speaking, Deacon Feng came in front of Lin Jun and cupped his fist. Young master, I've offended you just now. I'll pay for today's food and drinks. This person had improper thoughts about Zhao Xiaoman. Lin Jun originally wanted to just get rid of him, but after thinking about it, this person was also an alchemist. He would also go to the Alchemist Guild very soon. Who knows, he might be useful. Lin Jun directly waved his hand like he was chasing away a fly. Hurry up and leave. Don't be an eyesore here. Deacon Feng was as if he had been pardoned. He bowed to Lin Jun again and again, then ran away with his 2 bodyguards. The 2 bodyguards couldn't stay any longer. In just a short period of time, Lin Feng had pointed his middle finger at them 7 or 8 times, made a face 3 times, and even made a beheading gesture a few times. If it wasn't for their duty, they would have already run away. They were eager to leave this place as soon as possible. From the beginning to the end, the 2 of them didn't show any sense of existence. Now that they were running, they felt that their backs were drenched in sweat. Deacon, we're just going to leave like this? What else can we do? That kid should be relatively rich. He can actually hire World King bodyguards. If we stay, we won't be able to take advantage of him. After running far away, Deacon Feng stopped, panting, but this matter isn't over. This is simply a great humiliation. I reckon that those adventurers will come back to me to buy pills. When that time comes, I'll be able to get that kid's information. Then, we'll settle the new and old debts together. Deacon Feng made up his mind to take revenge. He ran back to the Alchemist Guild with his tail between his legs. He planned to inform his elders first. If that Ling guy really came to complain, he would be prepared. At least the punishment wouldn't be too heavy. Zhao Xiaoman stared blankly at Brother Li, who was knocked down by Deacon Feng. She didn't know how this trick was played. How could Deacon Feng be so shocked by Brother Lin Jun? Not only did he not flip out at Lin Jun, but he also hit Brother Li. However, Zhao Xiaoman was still happy with such an ending. Although she had been with her teammates for more than 10 years, their position in her heart was far less important than Lin Jun. Lin Jun also felt that Zhao Xiaoman's 2 teammates were extremely shameless. They actually wanted to sell out their teammates in exchange for pills. Such people were even worse than Deacon Feng. They should be humanely destroyed on the spot. Lin Jun thought so. However, he couldn't directly kill them. After all, this was the Southern Liang city gate. The problem of killing people was very serious. Moreover, looking at Zhao Xiaoman's appearance, it seemed that she had feelings for her teammates. It would be difficult for her to accept directly killing them. However, Lin Jun naturally had his ways. Lin Jun said to Zhao Xiaoman, "Why don't you come with me?" Zhao Xiaoman thought about it and said hesitantly, "I want to, but our team has been together for a long time. If I leave, the team will be missing one person. Otherwise, I'll wait for them to find someone to replace me and then immediately go find you." "All right then, I'll give you the dimensional universe number." The 2 added each other as friends in the dimensional universe and could finally contact each other at any time. Captain Han seemed to want to say something, but Lin Jun ignored them and continued to say to Zhao Xiaoman, "Xiaoman, do you think that I'm poor now and want to help me?" Zhao Xiaoman blushed. Although she thought so, she didn't say it out loud. She was afraid of hurting Lin Jun's self-esteem. Lin Jun laughed. "Don't worry about me. Although Brother Lin isn't strong, He did a few business deals in the Yuan realm and earned some money. He doesn't need others to support him. With that said, Lin Jun took out some things from his spatial ring. 5 Yuan realm crystal coins. The largest currency in the Yuan realm was 1 million. 5 million was enough for their adventurer team to earn for 1 or 2 years. He handed the crystal coins to Zhao Xiaoman. Buy whatever you like. Don't shortchange yourself. Without waiting for Zhao Xiaoman to refuse, Lin Jun took out some pills. This is the energy gathering powder for the Star Domain stage. Keep it for yourself. I got it from a friend. The toxins are very small, and this is the 100-flower pill. It's the best antidote on the market. If you feel that the toxins in your body have accumulated too much, take this medicine. But remember, this thing is very expensive. It's best not to give it to others. Zhao Xiaoman nodded and was secretly happy. Brother Lin was still the same Brother Lin. He could still do well in the Yuan realm. Lin Jun glanced at Captain Han and Captain Han. Their eyes were shining when they saw the crystal coins and pills in Zhao Xiaoman's hand. Lin Jun didn't say anything and reminded Zhao Xiaoman again. Remember, take the energy gathering powder first. This 100-flower pill and the energy gathering powder are a set. You can't take them separately. If you give it to others, they will die from the toxins. So, you can't let others know, okay? Zhao Xiaoman nodded and squeezed the 100-flower pill a little tighter. After that, Lin Jun returned his fence and called Lin Feng to get up and leave. Chapter 657. On the way, Lin Feng asked Lin Jun, "Boss, I don't think it's appropriate for you to give the little girl the pills." "Why?" "Those 2 men will definitely swindle the pills from the little girl. Look at their eyes. They're like wolves. If it were up to me, I'd just find a chance to kill them." "Huh. Of course, I know that Xiaoman won't be able to protect those pills. She just entered the Star Domain stage and doesn't need to detoxify the pill poison. When the time comes, the people who need it will come to her. In the end, the pills will fall into the hands of others." "Then, boss, why did you give it to her?" Lin Feng asked. "Yes, I gave it to her. I also said that only Xiaoman can take the pills. If anyone else takes it, they will die from the poison." Lin Feng's eyes widened. "What? Boss, what you said is actually true." "Of course it's true. Why? Do you think I'm joking?" Lin Jun asked. Lin Feng scratched his head. "I'm not the only one who thinks so. I'm afraid everyone thinks that you said that on purpose to prevent others from snatching Xiaoman's pills." "Haha, that's a misunderstanding. People always like to think that they're smart, so even if they die, they can't blame anyone. I said it clearly, but they didn't believe me. What can I do?" Lin Feng thought for a moment. "Boss, what if Xiaoman takes it? First, there's no pill poison in her body, so she won't take it. Second, even if she's poisoned, she can still contact me. I can poison her, but can I detoxify her? As for the others, if they're poisoned, it won't be easy to find someone to detoxify them." After hearing Lin Jun's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but give Lin Jun a thumbs up. "Boss, I think you're simply a pervert. You're so meticulous about everything. This makes me feel that sometimes brains are more useful than force." Lin Jun waved his hand. "Force is still the best. When you have absolute strength, there's no need for any schemes." Lin Feng was stunned. What is absolute strength? When no one can pose a threat to you anymore, that is absolute strength. Lin Jun's words made Lin Feng yearn for it, but he felt that it was impossible for him to achieve it. On the other hand, he felt that Lin Jun, who was beside him, had hope for Lin Jun. There were too many unfathomable things about this cheap boss of his. Located in southern Liang City, Lin Jun purchased a manor near a mountain and a river. The location was very good. The owner didn't want to sell it first, but after Lin Jun threw 1 billion in cash at him, the owner happily packed up and left. Lin Jun chose this place because it was just a street away from the Southern Liang's Alchemist Guild. After buying the house, Lin Jun locked himself in the house and didn't go out for a month. During this period of time, he had refined all the pills that Gu Yunting was once familiar with, especially the 2 ancient pill recipes. He had cultivated all of them to a proficient level. At the same time, he had the memories of 2 alchemists, especially Gu Yunting, who was a peak 6th grade alchemist and a peak 6th grade dark alchemist. After absorbing their memories, Lin Jun's alchemy skills reached an extremely high level. He felt that he was stronger than Gu Yunting, and he even had 1 foot in the door of the 7th grade alchemist. However, he was still a little short. The 7th grade wasn't so easy to reach. In the entire Southern Liang's Alchemist Guild, only the president and the vice president were 7th grade alchemists. The rest of the elders were only 6th grade alchemists. If he wanted to advance to the 7th grade, he must have his own unique pill, and it must be of great help to people. The specific standard was that this pill could be listed as an ancient pill recipe in the future. Lin Jun was still lacking an opportunity. As long as he had a good opportunity to refine a unique pill, he could break through to the 6th grade. Unless I obtain the memories of 7th grade alchemist, I will have to create my own unique pill. Compared to devouring memories, I still hope to create my own because my black hole beast body needs a few years to digest every soul I devour. What I lack the most now is not alchemy skills. This skill that requires incomparable talent and a huge amount of money in the eyes of others is nothing to me. What I lack now is martial arts. Lin Jun had secretly decided that the next time he devoured a soul, he would choose a powerful martial artist and absorb his memories for his own use. Martial arts was a martial artist's strongest trump card. After cultivating his alchemy skills to the extreme, Lin Jun was ready to leave home and go to the Alchemist Guild to obtain a 6th grade identity. Before he went out, the dimensional universe rang. At first, he thought it might be something on Zhao Xiaoman's side, but he didn't expect it to be a challenge message. The royal challenger with 2 swords had gathered 10 billion and came to challenge Lin Jun again. Lin Jun had no reason to reject such a free lunch that fell from the sky. He immediately entered the dimensional universe. After a round of battle, Lin Jun won again by a hair's breadth. Liang Chun had already made all the preparations, thinking that he would not give Lin Jun another chance. However, he did not expect that Lin Jun would launch a sneak attack from behind while he was crazily attacking. Liang Chun chose to charge forward boldly and wanted to follow Lin Jun's example and ignore the flying knives behind him to kill him first. However, he didn't expect Lin Jun's chest to be protected by a thick layer of protection. His knife didn't pierce through, and he was killed by Lin Jun's flying knives. Liang Chun felt that he had lost unjustly and refused to accept it. After saying some harsh words, he went back to raise money again. Lin Jun happily accepted the 10 billion yuan that was delivered to his doorstep. He thought that if this fellow lost again, he would probably come to his senses. If he could earn as much money as he could, he would not be able to find another opportunity like this again. In the room of the president of the Southern Liang Alchemist Guild, Nailan Chensi and the vice president, Dwayne, were both looking at the young man who came from Xianlu County to take the grade 6 Alchemist Guild assessment. That's right. To them, Lin Jun was a young man. They had never seen such a young grade 5 alchemist who was only a little over 1,000 years old. As the presidents of the Empire's Alchemist Guild, Nailan Chensi and Dwayne were both immortal-level warriors. In terms of age, Nailan Chensi was more than 20,000 years old, while Dwayne was more than 10,000 years old. It wasn't rare for a 1,000-year-old nebula to be in the primordial realm. However, alchemy required the accumulation of experience and a huge amount of money. Moreover, this person called Lin Jun wanted to take the grade 6 Alchemist Guild assessment. This piqued their interest, and they decided to invigilate the assessment personally. In fact, other than them, no one else was qualified to invigilate Lin Jun. This was because even the other elders were only grade 6 alchemists. For the grade 6 Alchemist Guild assessment, there was no need to test all the basics. As long as one pill could pass the assessment, it would be enough. Lin Jun wanted to refine the divine power pill. This was the ancient pill recipe from the auction house. It could increase the user's astral power by at least 20%. However, the side effects weren't small and there were limitations. Lin Jun had been studying this pill for the past few days. Now that he finally had some insights, he decided to give it a try. As long as he could refine the divine power pill, he would pass the assessment. However, Lin Jun wanted to have a breakthrough. Under the watchful eyes of the two grade 7 alchemists, Lin Jun began to act. Looking at Lin Jun's smooth movements, Nayland Chintzy and Dwayne looked at each other and nodded repeatedly. Lin Jun's basic alchemy skills weren't inferior to theirs. They could tell at a glance that it was impossible to do this without a lot of experience in alchemy. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Dark green flames burned on Lin Jun's hands. This kind of firepower wasn't inferior to theirs. At this moment, Dwayne suddenly asked, "Elder Lin Jun, you're still young, but your skills are very refined. Could it be that the new territories also have an outstanding alchemy environment? How did you train your skills?" He was testing Lin Jun. An outstanding alchemist could refine pills even in a complicated environment. This wasn't just a matter of mental quality. It also required the alchemist to have strong mental strength. Lin Jun smiled. The new territory's environment isn't like the primordial realm. Back then, it was especially difficult to learn things. When I was learning alchemy, I once thought of giving up because it was too boring. However, later on, I focused on it and started to discover the joy of alchemy. In the future, I didn't find it boring anymore. My mind is usually filled with these things. I'm used to these things. Lin Jun spoke casually without any pressure. It was impossible for Dwayne to distract him. The pill gradually took shape under the burning fire. Lin Jun, Dwayne, and Hyken didn't stop at all. They added in one after another to remove impurities and neutralize pill toxins. Huff, huff. A ball of cold air bloomed in his palm and directly entered the furnace. This was the benefit of Lin Jun's dual cultivation of ice and fire. Ordinary people couldn't use cold air to neutralize pill toxins. Nayland Chintzy was also shocked. What pure cold air? You actually mastered ice atoms. No wonder you have the confidence to take the rank 6 test. The effect of the pill produced like this will definitely multiply. Dwayne also praised. To be able to dual cultivate ice and fire, Lin Jun, you must have cultivated a technique with an inner world. I really don't know how you obtained such a technique in the new territories. Lin Jun didn't say anything. In front of a longevity martial artist, it was better to speak less. Otherwise, he might not be able to keep any secrets. Seeing that the pill was taking shape again, Lin Jun suddenly pointed his finger. A bolt of lightning directly bombarded the top of the pill. Crack! Under the bombardment of the lightning, the pill didn't shatter. Instead, it was refined. Lin Jun waved his hand. This time, in order to ensure success, he only refined one pill. However, this pill had a mild aura. It was neither hot nor cold. At the same time, there was a faint flash of lightning on it. It looked like a piece of art. He passed the pill to Nayland Chintzy. When the president saw it, his eyes widened instantly. This pill refined from this ancient pill formula can actually increase our power by 40%. The side effects are also very small. It only takes 3 days to recover from the weakened state. Moreover, the weakened state only reduces one's strength by 40%. Lin Jun smiled. The last bolt of lightning to neutralize the toxins was a new idea I came up with. It was a fluke. No, it's not a fluke. Chapter 658. A rank 6 Great Elder had to be reported to the Alchemist Association headquarters. Nayland Chintzy moved quickly and completed the process of Lin Jun's identity in a short while. Nayland Chintzy personally handed over the purple robe with 6 golden stars on the chest to Lin Jun. If it was someone else, I would call him Great Elder even if he had reached rank 6, but you're different. Lin Jun, you have a bright future ahead of you. Dwayne and I both think that you will surpass us in terms of alchemy sooner or later, so I call you Brother Lin. Brother, you won't think that I'm trying to climb up your social ladder, right? Haha, I'm indebted to both of you for your love. Lin Jun is really fearful. Nayland Chintzy and Dwayne laughed heartily and patted each other's shoulders as if they were good brothers. They were all alchemists and knew how terrifying Lin Jun's alchemy skills were now. There was nothing to be picky about this lad's alchemy skills. As long as the opportunity came, he might become a rank 7 alchemist tomorrow and be on equal footing with them. However, they were alchemists who had cultivated for tens of thousands of years. Thus, in their opinion, Lin Jun would become the #1 alchemist in southern Liang sooner or later. It was only a matter of time. The two of them were very willing to be on good terms with Lin Jun. Those who could become rank 7 alchemists were all immortal warriors. This Lin Jun was about to reach the domain Monarch Realm and would enter the immortal realm sooner or later if there were no accidents. Brother, we might be a few years older than you. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't refine too many of these improved god power elixirs. The rarer something is, the more valuable it is. This elixir is very valuable. Lin Jun nodded. He knew very well that this ancient elixir formula that he had improved was definitely a supreme grade elixir. An elixir that could increase 1-star power by 40%. The rarer it was, the more valuable it was. A single elixir could be auctioned. After Lin Jun became the Great Elder, he owned a large courtyard in the headquarters. It wasn't far from the courtyard he bought outside, only a dozen or so kilometers away. To celebrate the addition of another Great Elder, Nalen Chinsi invited the other 3 Great Elders of the guild to meet with Lin Jun. Everyone added each other's dimensional universe number. The 5 of them also had a group where they could communicate about their pill refining skills. Now, that Lin Jun had also been pulled in, these 6 people were the highest level of the Southern Liang Alchemist Guild. Ha ha! I'm really happy today. Our Southern Liang Alchemist Guild finally has a successor. All these years, it's been us 5 old farts who've been stubbornly holding on. Compared to the other Empire's guilds, our guild has been declining by the day. Now that Great Elder Lin Jun has arrived, let's see who still dares to look down on our Southern Liang. A Great Elder who's only a little over 1,000 years old. He's like a scorpion's poop. The only one. Ha ha. Hearing Nalen Chinsi's inappropriate metaphor, Lin Jun was speechless. This old man was a little too happy. Everyone, go to your own things first. I'll settle the things on hand. After half an hour, we'll go out and have a big meal. It's my treat. If this meal doesn't cost 100 million, don't say that you've seen the world. The few Great Elders and Dwayne laughed. It was rare for the president to spend so much money. No matter what, this meal would cost 100 million. They would ruthlessly beat the president's tycoon. Lin Jun was also quite happy. He now had a courtyard in the guild. Moreover, he would also obtain 2 immortal martial artists as bodyguards. This was what Lin Jun valued the most. With 2 immortal martial artists as bodyguards, Lin Jun's safety was basically completely assured. However, immortal martial artists were not cabbages. It would take time for the headquarters to prepare them. They would not send them over in 3 to 5 days. Lin Jun was not in a hurry. Coincidentally, he also wanted to go out and take a look at the Southern Liang's Alchemist Guild. There were a few types of bones that he needed. He also wanted to unseal the divine bone carving needle. Just as he was about to leave, Nalen Chinsi reminded them, everyone, don't wear a robe when you go out for a meal. Just wear casual clothes and keep a low profile. A few of them nodded. Anyway, even if they did not wear a robe, everyone in the guild would recognize them. Lin Jun did the same. He did not want to be too conspicuous. It was good for him to wear casual clothes. After all, the front desk of the guild already knew him. After taking off his robe and changing into casual clothes, Lin Jun left Nalen Chinsi's courtyard and went to the front desk of the guild. Hello, Great Elder Lin Jun. At the front desk was a beautiful elven girl. She bowed to Lin Jun. Her eyes were flashing with curiosity. She had already been informed that there was a new Great Elder in the guild. Hello, Furuoya. Great Elder Lin Jun actually remember my name. The girl called Furuoya's face was full of excitement. It's the first time I've seen such a young, handsome, and amiable Great Elder like you. When we meet more in the future, you won't find it strange anymore. Lin Jun smiled and changed the topic. Furuoya, how about you help me find some bones? I need them for alchemy. Okay, Great Elder, please list out the list. You can enjoy a 30% discount here. Lin Jun immediately gave the list of the remaining 6 types of bones to Furuoya. Take a look and see what the guild has. If there are any, just give them to me. If there aren't any, please help me purchase them. And let me see. There is a soul-devouring beast bone. There is also a dragon's bone. And there is also a Kuan Peng's bone. As for the phoenix, qilin, and violent ape's bones, we don't have them right now. I could try to purchase them for you. As expected of the Empire's Alchemist Guild, they actually found 3 out of the 6 types of bones. This made Lin Jun very happy. However, Lin Jun knew that the remaining 3 types of bones would not be easy to purchase. These supergalactic beast bones were almost impossible to obtain. If not for his status, he would not be able to obtain these 3 types of bones. All right, you could try to purchase them. Lin Jun spent more than 2 billion to obtain the dragons, Kuan Pangs, and soul-devouring beast bones. After taking the items, Lin Jun returned to the lounge in the main hall to wait. Lin Feng had also followed him here. However, this kid had gone to take the 4th grade alchemist examination. As Lin Jun's follower, his strength could not be too weak. Lin Jun knew what he was thinking. Lin Feng believed that if Lin Jun became a 6th grade alchemist, he would not need to be a world king's bodyguard anymore. It would be time for him to find an immortal martial artist. He was afraid that he would have to make a living on his own in the future. However, in Lin Jun's heart, he had never regarded Lin Feng as a servant. Even if he had an immortal martial artist as his bodyguard, Lin Feng would not leave. Lin Jun could provide for him with his own money. However, in Lin Jun's view, the possibility of Lin Feng passing the examination was not too high. At most, there was a 50% chance. Although his talent was very good, he did not have Lin Jun's abnormal ability to collect memories. How could the 4th grade alchemist examination be so easy? Sitting in the lounge waiting for Lin Feng to take the examination, he also waited for Nailan Chensi to come out. At this time, Lin Jun heard a voice next to him. "Your Royal Highness, please rest assured. These herbs have arrived. I will refine them into pills soon. My teacher will come in a while. We master and disciple will work together to turn these pills into money as soon as possible. You must be quick. This Highness is too tight on money during this period of time. I urgently need money." These medicinal herbs were obtained from other places. Master and disciple, hurry up and try to turn them all into medicinal pills within 2 days. Then, transfer the money to me as soon as possible. 2 days. Your Royal Highness, that's too rushed. In such a short time, there are so many herbs. Even if we ask a few more deacons to help, the refined pills will be rough. I'm afraid it won't be easy to sell them on the market. I don't care. You all have a way. I only care about getting the money. Don't tell me you can't do it. Well, we will try our best. Lin Jun listened to this conversation, and 2 people immediately appeared in his mind. This alchemist was Deacon Feng. As for the other person, wasn't he the one who had been challenging him? Although he knew that this person was a member of the royal family, Lin Jun did not expect him to be the eldest grandson of the Southern Liang Empire. This was the son of the crown prince, Liang Chun, who had been living with the crown princess Ning Qingxian. Although the emperor had other grandchildren, this was the only son of the crown prince. In the future, he would be qualified to inherit the throne of the Southern Liang. His status was not something the other members of the royal family could compare to. However, Lin Jun could not help but want to laugh as he listened to the conversation between the 2 of them. Looks like this Liang Chun has run out of tricks. After losing 32 billion, he lost another 10 billion. Now, he was really out of money. He actually got a batch of herbs from somewhere and asked Deacon Feng to refine pills for him. Through this method, he was accumulating money. As for why he was accumulating money, there was no doubt that it was to challenge him again. This was really a qualified soldier who gave money away. Lin Jun thought and let out a soft laugh. His laugh immediately disturbed the 2 people who were still plotting. Who is it? The 2 of them turned around at the same time and saw Lin Jun at the same time. They also said the same sentence at the same time. "It's you." After saying that, Liang Chun and Deacon Feng looked at each other at the same time. Liang Chun asked, "You know this person?" Deacon Feng was now in the Alchemist Guild, and he was very confident. After he came back from the previous incident, he started to look for his teacher. His teacher was an elder of the guild with the surname Wang. After he told his teacher looked for his teacher, Great Elder Charles, and mentioned it. The Great Elder did not take it seriously at all. He was busy refining pills and said not to bother him with these small matters. With the Great Elder's words, Deacon Feng was more confident and did not have to worry about being threatened by Lin Jun. So now that he saw Lin Jun, the humiliation he suffered back then immediately rushed to his heart. "Your Highness, this is a despicable, shameless swindler. A month ago, I had some conflict with him. I let him go then. I did not expect him to dare to come to the Alchemist Guild." After saying that, he asked Liang Chun, "Your Highness, how do you know this person? This person, I can't wait to turn him into ashes." Liang Chen's eyes were filled with hatred. After losing tens of billions to Lin Jun had become his obsession. If he did not defeat Lin Jun, he felt that he could not do anything. Chapter 659. Looking at the smug manager Feng, Lin Jun couldn't help but ask, "Is there a problem with me coming to the Alchemist Guild?" "Of course there's a problem. An outsider like you is sneaking around in my guild with ulterior motives. As a member of the guild, I can't just sit by and do nothing. Hurry up and hand over your space ring. Let me see if there are any pills or the like inside. If there are, you must explain where the pills came from. Otherwise, you're a thief. Well, why do you have to check my space ring?" "Huh, this is the Alchemist Guild, and I'm a manager here, but you're not. How funny. A small manager actually dares to distort the truth. I really don't know who gave you the courage." "Lin Jun, I think Manager Feng is right. It's not normal for you to be here. I also saw you steal the pills just now. I can testify from Manager Feng." Liang Chun finally saw a chance to vent his anger. He immediately began to make things difficult for Lin Jun. Today, he cooperated with Manager Feng to accuse Lin Jun. The two of them could really turn this matter into reality. If they could make Lin Jun bleed, it would be too satisfying. After all, winning money in the dimensional universe was not as satisfying as winning money in reality. "Yes, hurry up and hand over your space ring. Kid, I'm telling you to behave yourself." Manager Feng saw that Lin Jun's Kais guard wasn't there. As a Star Sector stage cultivator, he naturally didn't care about Lin Jun, who was a Nebula level 9. If he wanted to show off in front of Liang Chun, he wanted to take Lin Jun's space ring. Liang Chun sneered from behind. "Lin Jun, you'd better not act rashly. This isn't the dimensional universe. If I join forces with Manager Feng, you won't be able to fight back. If you know what's good for you, take out 50 billion and we'll forget about today's matter. Otherwise, just wait to be dealt with. I'll definitely throw you into prison." Hearing the number 50 billion, Manager Feng's eyes lit up. He didn't expect this kid to have so much money. If he took this money, he could get at least a few billion. When he saw Deacon Feng pouncing at him like a vicious wolf, Lin Jun laughed coldly and suddenly attacked at lightning speed. Time accelerated by 10 times and a big mouth. Deacon Feng didn't even have time to react before he was slapped to the ground by Lin Jun. Blood and a few teeth flew out. The teeth flew to the wall dozens of meters away and embedded themselves in it. It was obvious how fierce Lin Jun's palm was. Deacon Feng was stunned by the slap. He saw stars and his brain was buzzing. His mind was blank. Behind him, Liang Chun couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He felt that Lin Jun's slap was unbelievably fast. This was also the first time he doubted whether Lin Jun was holding back. Although Liang Chun had pulled out 2 swords, he did not dare to go forward to fight. Firstly, there were too many repercussions of fighting here. Secondly, he suddenly felt that he was not so confident. Another point was that he felt that his side was still reasonable. Lin Jun dared to beat up an alchemist in the guild, which was a serious crime. One had to know that the Alchemist Guild was an independent system and didn't belong to any country. The power of the Alchemist Guild headquarters could even be compared to the most powerful empire in the Yuan realm. Even if he was the imperial grandson of the Southern Liang dynasty, his words didn't have much influence in the Alchemist Guild. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to discuss this matter with Manager Feng. "Lin Jun, how dare you beat up an alchemist in the guild? Even the gods can't save you this time." Liang Chun shouted loudly. Lin Jun didn't use much star power in his slap. Otherwise, Manager Feng would have been killed instantly. This kid struggled to get up from the ground and yelled even more loudly. He was a domain monarch with more than 400,000 star power, but he was beaten down by Lin Jun with 1 slap. He was afraid of Lin Jun's martial arts and didn't dare to make a move. but he could blow up the matter. Oh no! Someone come quickly! Someone committed a crime in the Alchemist Guild. Look at how badly I was beaten up. My teeth flew to the wall and can't be pulled out. When they heard Deacon Feng's howl, which sounded like a pig being slaughtered, a large number of people in the surroundings were attracted over. Other than the crowd that came to purchase elixirs, there were also many alchemists among them. There were more level 1 alchemy apprentices and level 2 alchemy masters. There were also quite a few level 3 alchemy masters. In addition, there were also a few deacons who gathered around. It seemed that they knew Deacon Feng. Brother Feng, who beat you up like this? It's him. This brazen and shameless maniac was caught stealing elixirs in the guild and was scolded by me. In the end, he got angry and beat me up. He knew that I'm a manager, but he still dared to beat me up. He's really arrogant. How dare he behave so atrociously here? Strange things happen every year, but not this year. Kid, the Alchemist Guild is not your home. You got into big trouble. Even a longevity warrior can't save you. That's right. Our Alchemist Guild has never been bullied before. Where's the security? Call the security over. Seeing that the people around him were supporting him, Manager Feng became even more arrogant. He thought to himself, you slapped me just now. Later, I'll definitely make you pay back with interest. He walked towards Lin Jun. He thought to himself that he should also slap Lin Jun. At this moment, Lin Jun definitely wouldn't dare to fight back. But just as he took a step forward, Lin Jun took a step forward as well, and slapped him hard on the face once again. Just now, it was the left side of his face. This time, it was the right side. Pooh! This side of his molar teeth was once again slapped away by Lin Jun. Manager Feng's face immediately swelled up like a pig's head. When these managers saw how fierce Lin Jun was, they were so scared that they took a few steps back. They were good at refining pills, but they might not be good at fighting. They really didn't dare to fight. When Liang Chun saw that Manager Feng was beaten again, he was furious. He was the one who was tyrannical. But compared to this Lin Jun, he felt that he was simply an angel. But he couldn't continue watching it this time. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anyone to refine pills with the newly obtained herbs. Just as he was about to go up and fight with Lin Jun, someone suddenly said from behind, Elder Wang is here. A slightly plump old man walked into the crowd. When he saw Manager Feng, who was groaning on the ground, he hurriedly rushed over. Disciple, how are you? Who hit you? Master, you have to help me. Manager Feng was beaten continuously. At this moment, he couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. When he saw the old man arrive, he immediately saw his savior. He actually started to complain to Elder Wang with snot and tears. He said the same thing. Lin Jun stole pills from the guild and was discovered by him and Liang Chun. When they tried to stop him, this kid even attacked them twice. After Elder Wang heard this, he looked at Lin Jun with anger. Kid, do you know where this place is? Of course I know. It's the Alchemist Guild. Lin Jun saw that more and more people were surrounding them. He originally wanted to reveal his identity to end the dispute. But when he saw Nalen Chensi and a few others rushing over from afar, he decided not to mention his identity. It's good that you know. You stole pills from the guild and beat up the Alchemist Guild. Everyone saw it with their own eyes. There's nothing to say. Elder Wang's eyes were cold. He first said to Liang Chun, Your Highness, I think this person can only spend the rest of his life in prison. That's exactly what I want. Liang Chun agreed and immediately called for the guards through the dimensional universe to arrest him. What happened? Behind the crowd, President Nalen Chensi, Vice President Dwayne, and the 3 Grand Elders arrived one after another. The surrounding people were stunned. They didn't expect these few big bosses that they usually couldn't see throughout the year to come together today. Could it be that the headquarters sent people? After Elder Wang saw Grand Elder Charles, his heart was filled with confidence. He came in front of Charles and bowed to the president and vice president. Then he said to Charles, Teacher, what are these people making a ruckus for? This is the Alchemist Guild, not market. Where is the decency? Elder Wang hurriedly said, Teacher, you can't blame us for this. Your grand disciple was beaten up. Look at how he was beaten up. He can't even recognize his original appearance. As he spoke, Elder Wang pulled Deacon Feng over. When he saw Deacon Feng's miserable appearance, the bearded Grand Elder Charles, who had a fiery temper, frowned slightly. What happened? It's like this, Grandmaster. His Royal Highness and I caught a thief who was stealing pills. When I came out to stop him, this person actually attacked me on the spot. First, he knocked me over. Then, he attacked me again when everyone was watching. That's why I was beaten up like this. Charles and the others looked in the direction of Deacon Feng's finger and saw Lin Jun smiling at them. Nalan Chinsi took a deep breath and said to Deacon Feng, "Do you dare to guarantee that what you said is true?" "President, everything is absolutely true. His Royal Highness can testify. Everyone here can testify." At this time, Liangshan also came in front of Nalan Chinsi and bowed. Not only was the other party an immortal martial artist, but she was also the president of the Alchemist Guild. Her status wasn't much lower than his royal grandfather. He had to maintain respect. "President Nalan, what Deacon Feng said is absolutely true. I believe that this Lin Jun's spatial ring must have pills from the Alchemist Guild. If you don't believe me, you can ask him to open the ring and check." The people around couldn't help but frown slightly. There was something wrong with these words. Who didn't have any pills in their ring? It was a false accusation. Charles couldn't stand it anymore. He pointed at Lin Jun and said to Elder Wang and Deacon Feng, "Are you sure that he is the one who stole the pills?" "That's right. He must have stolen it. This person is a swindler. Swindling people has always been his way of doing things. I can guarantee it with my life." Deacon Feng insisted on Lin Jun's death. If he wanted to take revenge today, he would not be soft-hearted. "You said that he is a liar?" Dwayne asked with a strange expression on his face. "Yes, he is definitely a liar," Deacon Feng said firmly. Lin Jun coughed at this time. "I am not a liar. In fact, I am also an alchemist, Ba." "You are an alchemist, my ass. Do you think that alchemists are cabbages? Let me tell you, lying here won't work. Look at you. Who will be blind to think that you are an alchemist? Ha ha ha. Don't make me laugh." Chapter 660. After Manager Feng finished speaking, Nalan Chinsi looked at Elder Wang. "Elder Wang, what do you think?" Elder Wang looked at Lin Jun and weighed the pros and cons in his heart. In his opinion, Lin Jun was too young to be an alchemist. Even if he was probably a level 1 alchemist or a level 2 alchemist. It was not worth mentioning. Moreover, Liang Chun was also firmly on this side. They were all in the same boat. Of course, they had to advance and retreat together. Therefore, he said firmly, "I think this Lin Jun must be a liar." Nalan Chinsi sighed slightly and then looked at Lin Jun. Then, "Mr. Lin Jun, do you have anything to say?" Lin Jun smiled. "I have a recorded video here. Let me show it to everyone first." This was all thanks to Chris. When this artificial intelligence found something valuable, she would record it directly without Lin Jun's instructions. She just told Lin Jun that she had recorded the conversation between Liang Chun and Manager Feng, as well as the scene of them falsely accusing Lin Jun. When the video was played, everyone's expression changed. They did not expect Liang Chun to collude with Manager Feng and Elder Wang to put a large number of pills on the market with shoddy ones. As for the method that Manager Feng mentioned, everyone understood that it was nothing more than letting the guild sell the pills. This was also to destroy the guild's reputation. After watching it, Nalan Chinsi said expressionlessly, "You said that Lin Jun stole the herbs. Do you have evidence?" Manager Feng's expression was very ugly at this time, but he still insisted. "He is not from the guild and is sneaking around in the guild. It is not unreasonable for me to suspect him. Also, President, you heard it too. This person is pretending to be an alchemist. This is true, right?" Nalan Chinsi glanced at Dwayne. "Brother, it seems that both of us are blind. At least in Deacon Feng's eyes, only a blind person would think that Lin Jun is an alchemist. Should we dig out our eyeballs?" Dwayne snorted. "Indeed, there are people who need to dig their eyes out, but it's definitely not you or me. Guild leader, it seems like we're too high and mighty. The guild needs to be reorganized." After that, Nalan Chinsi asked Charles, "Great Elder, these are all your apprentices and grand disciples. What do you think we should do?" Charles had been holding back for a long time. When he heard Nalan Chinsi's question, he stepped forward without hesitation and slapped Elder Wang's face. "You scoundrel! You think you've grown wings after becoming an elder? I told you to be careful when taking in disciples, but look at what you've taken in. Is he blind? He actually dares to slander head Elder Lin Jun in public? I think he's tired of living. Elder Wong was knocked unconscious by Great Elder Charles's slap. He was stunned for a moment before asking, "Who?" "Head Elder Lin Jun. The guild has already issued a circular order at the front desk, right?" Nayland Chintzy asked. "Yes, I even took a look when I came down. Head Elder Lin Jun's name has already been recorded and entered on the personnel list. It's just that these people didn't look at it." Nayland Chintzy nodded. "Lin Jun is our Alchemist Guild's newly promoted Great Elder. He's recognized by the headquarters. You actually slandered a Great Elder for stealing medicinal herbs. This is simply the biggest joke in the world. Don't you know how to use your brains when doing bad things?" He's actually the Great Elder? When did this happen?" Deacon Feng was completely dumbfounded. Dwayne also said, "Head Elder Lin Jun's assessment was personally invigorated by me and the guild leader. There's no exaggeration. Do you think we should leak the assessment content to you? Why don't you see if you have that qualification?" At this time, Charles came to Nayland Chintzy and Dwayne with a face full of shame. "Guild leader, vice guild leader, I'm responsible for this matter. I didn't teach my apprentices well. Please punish me." "There's no need to punish you. Just be careful in the future. You should think about how to deal with them," Charles said firmly. Not only did these two people want to sell inferior pills to destroy the reputation of the guild, but they also slandered the Great Elder and distorted the truth. Such people can't stay in the guild. I suggest that we expel them and remove their names from the guild. Nayland Chintzy nodded. "Not only do we have to expel them, but we also have to report to the headquarters and blacklist them. Such alchemists will never be recruited by any guild in the Yuan realm in the future." Nayland Chintzy's punishment was too severe. They lost their qualifications as alchemists. Even if they had alchemy skills, they could only become dark alchemists in the future. No guild would recruit them. Elder Wong and Deacon Feng still wanted to beg for mercy, but Charles, who was already impatient, picked them up one by one and threw them out. He even gave each of them a kick, completely sweeping them out. After doing all this, Nayland Chintzy faced Liang Chun. "Your Highness, I deeply regret that you tried to ruin the reputation of our guild. Also, please take note that Lin Jun is our guild's Great Elder. Please give him the respect he deserves. Please leave now." Liang Chen's face alternated between red and white. Today's matter was really embarrassing. He believed that this matter would spread very quickly, and his mother would also know. His life would be difficult again. Moreover, Liang Chun owed a lot of money for this batch of medicinal ingredients. Now that there was no alchemist, the basic medicinal ingredients were all rotting in his hands. He really didn't expect that this Lin Jun was actually the Alchemist Guild's Great Elder. This was a person with a very high status, not inferior to him, the imperial grandson. Even before he ascended the throne, people probably still valued the Great Elder more. Knowing that he couldn't take advantage of this, Liang Chan glared fiercely at Lin Jun and left the Alchemist Guild in a sorry state. "All right, what are you all looking at? Go do what you need to do." The surrounding people all dispersed with excitement on their faces. There was another topic to talk about after a meal. Nayland Chintzy came to Lin Jun's side and said with a smile, all right, this is just a small matter. Don't affect our mood to eat." Charles was also embarrassed to apologize to Lin Jun. After all, he was responsible. At this time, Dwayne suddenly asked Lin Jun, "Brother, why didn't you reveal your identity? If you reveal your identity, they definitely won't have the guts to slander you." Lin Jun smiled. "I said I did it on purpose. Are you satisfied with this answer?" The few of them looked at each other and smiled. This newly promoted elder seemed to be quite bad. He deliberately dug a hole for those people to jump into. The two alchemists were still fine, but His Highness the Imperial Grandson's fall wasn't light. However, Nayland Chintzy still patted Lin Jun's shoulder. "Brother, I still have to remind you. Although Liang Chun is fine, he has a mother who is protective of him. Although Ning Qingxian hasn't married the crown prince yet, her strength is very good among the immortal warriors. You have to be careful." Lin Jun nodded slightly. He was also on guard in his heart. He really didn't want to face Ning Qingxian. Not for other reasons, but once his clone was discovered, it would be troublesome. After leaving the Alchemist Guild, Liang Chun returned to his residence dejectedly. He didn't expect Lin Jun to be the great elder of the guild, but this wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that his source of income was cut off again. Without money to challenge, he wouldn't be able to get back the money he lost. This was something he couldn't swallow. After thinking about it, he finally felt that he should ask for money from those who wanted to be wanted. Initially, asking for 1 billion was a little too much. Only a few dozen counties were willing to pay. This time, he should screen and choose the wanted posters of serious criminals. Then, he would go to the county governor and ask for money. That should increase his chances of success. At most, he could lower the price to 500 million. Flipping through the wanted posters on the table, Liang Chun began to choose the important targets. In the primordial realm, murder and arson weren't serious crimes at all. Everyone was a warrior, and fighting was a common thing. Only those who caused a huge impact would be wanted. Killing an entire family, that's only worth 200 million. Killing the son of a manor lord, that's bullsh *t. Then come back with 500 million. Stealing the concubine of a county governor. He has the nerve to put up a wanted poster. Isn't he afraid that people will laugh their heads off? 1 billion. This can't be less. Killing the president of the Herbs Guild, that's worthless. Liang Chun casually threw the wanted poster aside. Suddenly, a flash of lightning seemed to flash through his mind. Who is it? He grabbed the wanted poster that he had thrown away. His eyes shone brightly. This was because there were 2 big words written on the wanted poster. Lin Jun, am I seeing things? This Lin Jun is a wanted criminal. He picked up the wanted poster and read it carefully. There was even a picture attached to it. Liang Chen glanced at it and confirmed that it was Lin Jun himself. Wanted poster for the Violet Gold Divine Tribe's World King Lin Jun. These words attracted Liang Chen's attention. If he were to look at these words alone, it was definitely not the same person as Lin Jun himself, even if they looked exactly the same. This was because the Lin Jun he knew was only in the nebulous stage. He was definitely not some world king. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Lin Jun to set up an arena in the arena's nebulous stage. However, Liang Chun still felt that they were the same person. This was because they were too similar. Investigate Lin Jun's situation for me, Liang Chun ordered. After a while, he received a set of information. Lin Jun came from Xinla County's Muwang province, a martial artist from the new territories who broke through the Heavenly Gate. Current Grand Elder of the Southern Liang Empire's Alchemist Guild. There was another coincidence here. The Lin Jun on the wanted poster was also from Xinla County's Muwang province. It would be normal if they had the same name and came from the same place. However, they had the same name and came from the same place. Moreover, they even looked exactly the same. Moreover, when he looked at it carefully, he realized that the Lin Jun on the wanted poster was also an alchemist. However, the Lin Jun on the wanted poster was a grade 5 alchemist. The one on the wanted poster was a grade 6 alchemist. That's not right. There can't be such a coincidence in this world. Liang Chun held the wanted poster in his hand. He believed that the person on the wanted poster was definitely the same person as the current Lin Jun. As for why the wanted poster said that he was a world king and why this Lin Jun was a human and that one was from the Violet Gold Divine Tribe, he still had no idea. In short, there was definitely something he did not understand. However, he seemed to understand one thing. Chapter 661. Holding the warrant in his hand, Liang Chun felt that he was an idiot. After some thought, he had a guess in his heart. Lin Jun was originally a world king, and the one fooling around in the nebulous stage should be his clone. When he thought about how he was tricked by a world king, he was furious. Bastard! I was wondering why I almost couldn't defeat you every time. It turns out that you were digging a hole for me and deliberately cheating me of my money. Although anger surged in his heart, Liang Chun did not completely lose his mind. Since the other party was a world king, he was definitely not a match for him. A world king from a Violet Gold God tribe was no joke. As for the nebulous stage clone, it was not easy to deal with him either. Putting aside the fact that it was difficult to defeat him, After he was promoted to a great elder, it would not be long before 2 immortal-level bodyguards came. By then, Liang Chun would probably never have the chance to take revenge. The warrant was useless now. It was useless even if the Empire put a warrant on a great elder of the Alchemist Guild. The Alchemist Guild would not allow it. No, I'm afraid I can't handle this alone. I have to go back and tell Mother. Just as he was about to go back and look for Ning Qingxian, Liang Chun stopped in his tracks. The Violet Gold God Tribe was a taboo in front of Ning Qingxian. Unless it was confirmed that the Violet Gold God Tribe was Hua Hua Tai Sui, no one would mention the Violet Gold God Tribe in front of her. Hua Hua Tai Sui. This Lin Jun also knows how to use the finger flick sword chi. Looking at the description on the warrant, another thought arose in Liang Chen's mind. However, this thought did not have enough evidence. The vengeful Liang Chun decided to investigate. If he wanted to investigate, Liang Chun could not stay in southern Liang. He decided to go to Xinla County and investigate how Gu Yunting died and Lin Jun's past. Lin Jun, if it's really as I think, you'll die without a burial place this time. Liang Chun was also someone who did what he wanted to do. He knew that this matter might not be easy to investigate. Things had changed, and many clues were gone. However, he still had to do it. Not only did he have to do it, but he had to do it as soon as possible. In 3 years, the Star of Divine Punishment would open. It was a grand event that Liang Chun had been looking forward to. He had to come back before then. There was a legend in the primordial realm that immortality was not the end for warriors. Similarly, there were differences in strength between immortality experts. Furthermore, there were realms above immortality. However, if he wanted to progress further, he would have to refine his divine body before he reached immortal level. Otherwise, he would be stuck at immortal level forever. Quenching the god body was really difficult. The most common method was to enter the god punishment star of the endless sea of stars when it opened. Warriors under the immortal realm could enter it. Their achievement there would determine the potential of their god body and how far they could go in the future. In the southern Liang, for example, the crown princess Ning Qingxian did not have the opportunity to enter the god punishment star. The Greenleaf sect had once used the sect's resources to help her refine her divine body. That was why she was able to strike fear into other immortality experts at such a young age. The so-called Star of God's Punishment referred to those great gods who had supreme power. When they sent down God's punishment on a certain planet, the planet would undergo a great change. Everything would become unknown. It was a dangerous hell. If one wanted to refine their god's body, they had to go to this planet. Furthermore, every time the god punishment star descended, not just anyone could enter. The primordial realm was unimaginably huge. No matter how big a planet was, it was impossible to fit many people. Therefore, there was a limit to the number of people who could enter. For example, the Southern Liang Empire only had 1,000 places. 1,000 places was not a lot. As a country much larger than the Fire Qilin Empire, the Southern Liang had a population that was dozens of times larger than the Fire Qilin Empire. If 1,000 places were distributed evenly, there would only be one place out of 1 trillion people. There were too many hidden forces within an empire. Even though Liang Chun was an imperial grandson, if it wasn't for Ning Qingshuan's help, he wouldn't have been able to obtain a place to enter the God Punishment Star. Liang Chun knew that another imperial grandson of the same generation as him, even the grandson that the old emperor liked very much, had wanted to obtain a place, but had not been able to. As for others who wanted to obtain a place, it was simply impossible. Therefore, Lin Zhen's matter had to be resolved. However, it could not delay his journey to the God Punishment Star. That was the bottom line. Lin Zhen's days in the Alchemist Guild had become peaceful. As the Great Elder, he did not need to be disturbed. Every day, he only needed to focus on refining pills. After that, Liang Chun never came to challenge him again. Lin Zhen had no one to challenge him on the arena in the Galaxy Field. He simply left the arena. His current goal was to enter the Star Domain stage. After entering the Star Domain Stage 9, Lin Zhen needed some time to digest the medicinal effects before he could consume the medicine again to become a Domain Monarch. The medicine's transition period was not over yet. It would take about half a year. During this period, Lin Jun would accumulate large amounts of medicine every day and directly hand it over to the Alchemist Guild to be sold on his behalf. The Great Elder's name was still very useful. Moreover, Lin Jun's medicine had very little side effects. It was very popular in the market and very quickly opened up a market. Every day, there were profits of millions and even tens of millions. Every month, Lin Jun would also take out an improved God Power pill to auction. This medicine also attracted a lot of attention in the Southern Liang market. This was especially true for the first person to bid for the God Power pill at the price of 300 million. After using this pill to take revenge, the price of the subsequent pills rose steadily. In the second month, the God Power pill was sold for 700 million. In the third month, it was sold for 1 billion. After that, the lowest transaction price was 1 billion. While earning a lot of money every day, Lin Jun was still accumulating. While accumulating wealth, he was also accumulating pills. Once he became a domain monarch, he would have all the pills he needed to advance to the domain monarch stage 9. There's also news from the Alchemist Guild headquarters that there were not enough immortal-level martial artists. One of the alchemists had been transferred back to the headquarters. Currently, the headquarters could only provide Lin Jun with a bodyguard. This news was brought over by Nalen Chensi. It happened to be the time when Lin Jun needed a bodyguard. The headquarters had adjusted the system, and this bodyguard had not been sent out yet. He felt a little apologetic. Hearing Nalen Chensi's words, Lin Jun smiled and said, "Brother, this is not something you could decide. What's there to be apologetic about?" Nalen Chensi chuckled and then said to Lin Jun, "Brother, actually, I think it's fine if you don't have a bodyguard for now. Every day in the Alchemist Guild, no one dares to find trouble with you. With this opportunity, you can talk to the headquarters about conditions." "Oh, what's there to talk about?" Lin Jun asked. "Not having an immortal-level bodyguard in exchange for a place to go to the Star of God's Punishment." Hearing this, Lin Jun fell silent. He had been thinking about this for a long time. The place to go to the Star of God's Punishment was the most popular thing now. On the black market, the price of the place to go to the Star of God's Punishment had already reached a sky-high price of 50 billion. This was the price that someone had offered at the beginning. However, there was no market for it. After that, the price kept increasing. Until now, there was no record of a transaction. However, Lin Jun had been busy refining pills recently, so he did not know much about this matter. He took the opportunity to ask Nalen Chensi about it. "President, what's with the Star of God's Punishment?" "It's like this. It said that when the primordial realm was formed, there was already an Almighty in heaven and earth. His power was unimaginable. The Almighty watches over everything in the world. He gives people the opportunity to surpass immortality and become a god. The opportunity is on the Star of God's Punishment. Every 100,000 years, the Almighty will give an opportunity to train the God's punishment on a certain planet. The people on the planet must have offended the Almighty in some way. After the opportunity to train the God's punishment is given, everything on the planet will be destroyed, and it will become an extremely dangerous place. The opportunity to train the God's punishment is hidden somewhere on the planet. This is how the Star of God's Punishment came about." After listening to Nalen Chensi's explanation, Lin Jun finally understood something. Is there a limit to the number of opportunities to train the God's punishment? That's right. According to historical records, there are only 100 opportunities to train the God's punishment each time. Among them, there are 60 places for beginner God's punishment, 30 for intermediate God's punishment, 9 for advanced God's punishment, and one of them is a supreme God's punishment. Martial artists from all over the world will compete for the opportunity to train the God's punishment. Only those who are among the 100 places will have the opportunity to surpass immortal level and reach a higher position in the future. This is an indispensable part. Lin Jun looked at Nalen Chensi. "Then, President Yu?" "Sigh. I'm unlucky. I was born at the wrong time. Now that I'm more than 20,000 years old, I've already cultivated to immortal level. I don't have the opportunity to go to the Star of God's Punishment anymore. Otherwise, I would have fought for it. Then I don't need an immortal level bodyguard now. Can I exchange it for a chance to go to the Star of God's Punishment?" If that's the case, it's not enough. You have to know that the price of the star of God's punishment has been raised. However, your situation is rather special. A peak grade 6 alchemist who's 1,000 years old is almost unique in the headquarters. Let me recommend you. If you pay a little more money, it should be enough. How much does it cost? 30 billion. If you have 30 billion, you should be able to get this opportunity. Enter the star of God's punishment and compete with all the geniuses in the entire Yuan realm. How long will it take? Lin Jun pondered. If Lin Jun did not have a clone, he believed that he was not qualified to participate in this competition. However, with his clone, he felt that he could give it a try. After all, Hua Tai Sui's clone was a first-class existence among the world kings. The only problem was that the 2 hailstone divine needles could not be unsealed for the time being. However, this did not hinder Lin Jun's determination to give it a try. If he did not go to the Star of God's punishment this time, he might not have another chance. Chapter 662. Great Elder Lin Jun, let me tell you a piece of good news. I have received the bones of the violent ape. Fu Ruoya's voice roused Lin Jun's spirits. After giving Nalen Chinsi 30 billion, Lin Jun had been hoping to purchase bones after refining pills every day. Now, he had finally obtained the 5th type of bone. After retrieving the bones of the violent ape from Fu Ruoya, Lin Jun only lacked 2 more types of bones. One was the bones of a Qilin, and the other was the bones of Phoenix. If I can unlock the carving bone divine needle within 3 years, then I will have a very strong competition in the Star of God's punishment. My clone with 5 million star energy points can already crush most of the world kings. Lin Jun silently calculated the time. There were still 2 years and 7 months before the opening of the Star of God's punishment. In another month or so, he would be able to consume the energy-gathering elixir again and advance to the Domain King level. Other than refining pills, Lin Jun had not been idle during this period. Usually, his clone would be the one refining pills. His real body would be cultivating in the dimensional universe. There were no more challenging opponents in the nebulous stage. Lin Jun would be fighting with simulated opponents in the arena every day. This was another place that required a lot of money. Chris, is there anything that needs to be improved on my current training plan? Master, the training plan that I have prepared for you is the most reasonable one. I guarantee that you will make full use of every second. Every day, you will spend 5 hours cultivating the 5 styles of falling stars, 5 hours cultivating the Taiyuan sword technique, 5 hours on neutralizing the medicinal effects and cultivating your star energy, and 5 hours on cultivating your spiritual power. Every 5 hours, you will have an hour to relax. How much does it cost per day? The simulated arena in the arena. 10 hours of use per day. It costs 30 million a day. Lin Jun nodded. A martial artist cultivation was inseparable from money. The dimensional universe was the best place to improve, especially the 5 styles of falling stars and the Taiyuan sword technique. As long as he spent money every day, he could fight with different martial artists. It was very beneficial to his cultivation. Master, according to my training plan, you will need around 630 days. You will need around 520 days to cultivate the 4th style of the Taiyuan sword style, Cosmic Void. You will need around 520 days to cultivate Planetary Fall. With these 2 martial skills, your competitiveness on God's punishment star will greatly increase. Even if you're a Domain King, you will be able to jump ranks and fight with a World King. But it won't be long before you enter the Domain King realm. All right, then let's proceed according to plan. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. While Lin Jun was diligently cultivating, Liang Chun had already found some clues in Xianlu Prefecture. In order to find out the truth behind the battle between Lin Jun and Gu Yunting, Liang Chun built a large number of buildings on the ruins of the Soaring Sky Tower, completely restoring the original Soaring Sky Tower. According to the Intelligence Systems Analysis, Liang Chun started to approach the truth step by step. Back then, Lin Jun charged in through this window. With his first strike, the wall of this window was completely shattered by the pressure of his fist. Standing at the window where Lin Jun had used Planetary Fall, Liang Chun simulated the scene of Lin Jun descending from the sky. Then, Gu Yunting attacked from this position. Encounter. Gu Yunting was defeated. From the wreckage of the building, I can see the power of Lin Jun's attack. It should have originated from the ancient secret manual he bought. Liang Chun had already made some guesses based on the information and video footage he had obtained. After that, Liu Yang came, and Lin Jun exposed his identity as a member of the Purple Gold God tribe. If that's the case, Lin Jun might not be Lin Jun anymore. He might be a completely different person. With this guess in mind, Liang Chun took out the investigation he had done some time ago. According to some clues that I bought at a high price, I found out that Hua Hua Tai Sui used to live in a remote place in Xianla County. He blended in with the ordinary people. Lin Jun had been there recently. After that, Hua Hua Tai Sui disappeared. The one who survived was Lin Jun. I've also investigated the servants in their house and confirmed that Lin Jun had been there. In that case, it's easy to conclude that Lin Jun went to look for Hua Hua Tai Sui for some reason. One of them is dead, and the dead person was refined into a clone. In Liang Chen's heart, he already had an answer. The person who had died was Lin Jun, and the person who had survived was Hua Hua Tai Sui. In order to obtain this piece of evidence, he had worked hard for half a year and searched for all the people who knew about it. This included Liu Yang, the people from the Soaring Sky building, the people from the Alchemist Guild, and even some ordinary people who had been hired by Hua Hua Tai Sui, forming a complete chain of evidence. Liang Chun was confident that he had figured out the truth. He can no longer stay here. It's over, Lin Jun. I'll soon expose your disguise. You're not Lin Jun at all. You're a notorious bastard, the person my father and mother want to kill the most. You're Hua Hua Tai Sui. I know your goal very well. Your goal is to use Lin Jun's clone to enter the Alchemy Guild and cure my mother's eye soul needles. Do you think your identity as an alchemist will protect you? You're gravely mistaken. Even if you become an alchemist, my father and mother will still have ways to deal with you. However, Liang Chun didn't want to tell this news to his father. He planned to tell it to Ning Qingxian instead. With this huge secret in mind, Liang Chun set foot on his way home. Before Liang Chun returned to southern Liang, an old man appeared in front of the Alchemy Guild. This person was travel-worn, and his clothes were disheveled. It was obvious that he hadn't been living well. However, his aura was enough to make the surrounding passers-by retreat. This was because this person was a world king, a peak level 9 world king. Ku Xianglong. Ku Xianglong's life in the primordial realm was a bit too tragic. After coming out of the heavenly gate, he returned to the primordial realm. However, because of Lin Jun, there was no place for him in the Kirin clan. Although he was a powerful world king, he couldn't be as tyrannical in the primordial realm as he could in the new territories. Every time he saw the Long Life Temple, Ku Xianglong had to take a detour. This was because he didn't dare to offend a long-life martial artist. He knew that this calamity in the Heavenly Gate had basically cut off his hopes of advancing to the long-life realm. This was because the knot in his heart couldn't be resolved. He was already over 9,000 years old. If he still had a chance to advance to the long-life realm, it would be to kill Lin Jun and vent the resentment in his heart. Perhaps he would still have a chance to live. After receiving Elder Qin's guidance, he went to Xianlu County to hunt down Lin Jun. Unfortunately, he didn't even see him. Lin Jun ran away like a rabbit, disappearing without a trace. The other 2 world kings sent by Gu Yunting had already retreated. Only Ku Xianglong was still searching for Lin Jun's whereabouts. He didn't have the same authority as Liang Chun, who could inquire about Lin Jun's information. He could only persevere in his search. Following the clues of those transmission arrays, he followed the vines to the melon. He took countless unnecessary detours. In the end, after almost 5 to 6 months of searching, he finally found this place. Only when he arrived here did he find out that Lin Jun had actually become the great elder of the Alchemist Guild. Lin Jun, you caused me to be so miserable. Now, I can't even return to the Kirin clan. You still want to live a carefree life here? Dream on. Although I don't know how you became the great elder, I don't believe that you'll never go out. I've already found out that you have another residence here. As long as you return home, it will be the time of your death. Ku Xianglong investigated the Alchemist Guild for several days. Finally, He locked on a Lin Jun's residence outside. He disguised himself as a peddler and restrained his aura. Every day, he would wait outside Lin Jun's residence, using this method to wait for Lin Jun to return home. Lin Jun was currently cultivating in the arena. In front of him was a first-level World King opponent with a star force of 1. For million, Lin Jun's main body was fighting with a World King. Holding the Mirage Light Sword in one hand, Lin Jun's sword energy was like a rainbow, surging back and forth. Taiyuan Sword Art's third move, Genesis. After a few rounds of battle, Lin Jun, who was at a disadvantage, suddenly displayed his new understanding. The Taiyuan Sword Art was worthy of being called an ancient secret manual. When the Genesis Sword Art appeared, it was like the first ray of light between heaven and earth, directly destroying the World King's sword energy. Rumble. The two sword energies collided, and the World King's body flew backward. His chest was shattered, and he quickly turned into light and disappeared. Humph. It's still a bit strenuous. With this sword art, I can defeat a World King with a star force of 1. For million, but that's also my limit. Lin Jun retreated from the dimensional universe and began to adjust his state. This level is still not enough. After entering the Star of Divine Punishment, my clone will be my greatest trump card. I can't use it casually. In the most common battles, I still have to rely on my main body. No matter how much I cultivate in the nebulous stage, I won't be able to achieve much due to the limitations of my realm. If I really want to compete with the other geniuses of the primordial realm on the Star of Divine Punishment, then the only way is to enter the Star Domain stage. A Domain King has a certain status, even in the primordial realm, especially the powerful ones. They can even be compared to a World King. My goal is to become a Domain King who could defeat most World Kings. After adjusting his breathing a few times, Lin Jun felt that his current state had almost reached its peak. In particular, the medicinal effects of the elixir he took last time had completely disappeared. In other words, he had completely met the conditions to swallow the elixir again. It's time for me to break through. There's no time like the present. Let's do it tonight. Lin Jun looked around. It was safer to break through in the Alchemist Guild, but breaking through here would cause too much of a commotion, and it would inevitably attract the attention of others. Lin Jun didn't want that to happen. He also had a courtyard that he had bought back then and hadn't lived in much. Now, it would come in handy. After preparing all the elixirs for the breakthrough, Lin Jun left the courtyard of the Alchemist Guild in a flash. Chapter 663. 3 moons hung in the red, orange, and green sky, sometimes far and sometimes near. The night in the primordial realm was bizarre and unimaginable. Even though Lin Jun had been in the primordial realm for many years, he still could not understand the rhythm of the changes of the sun and moon. Bang, bang. The sound of a night watcher striking a wooden gong echoed in the night. Lin Jun walked slowly on the street and looked at the shadow under his feet that spread in 3 directions. The Alchemist Guild was not in the downtown area. Other than the people who came to ask for medicine in the day, there were no ordinary residents within a radius of 1,000 miles at night. Thus, it was exceptionally quiet. Lin Jun was not very satisfied with this breakthrough. This was because he felt that when he broke through to the domain monarch realm, his body's energy had not reached the saturation level, and such a breakthrough could not achieve the best results. However, the saturation of energy required countless years of accumulation or coincidences to achieve it. It was very difficult to achieve. In fact, most people broke through normally, but Lin Jun was pursuing perfection. His courtyard was right in front. When Lin Jun arrived at the entrance of his house, he saw a peddler pushing a cart over. It's already so late. These ordinary people are really working hard. Lin Jun thought to himself, but his footsteps suddenly slowed down. There were no ordinary residents in the vicinity of the Alchemist Guild. Why would this elder appear here in the middle of the night? The cart came to Lin Jun's side. The face of the elder pushing the cart was blurry, and he could not see it clearly. Little brother, buy some groceries. What kind of groceries do you have? There are candles, paper money, shrouds, and coffins. In short, I have everything that a person needs after death. Little brother, buy some back. Perhaps you will need them soon. Then, did you leave one for yourself? Maybe you'll need it tonight. Crack! In a short moment, both parties attacked almost at the same time. Lin Jun's clone suddenly appeared in front of him and immediately launched a powerful attack. However, the old man's attack was even more ferocious. With his full strength, he actually forced Lin Jun's clone back several steps. There were very few situations like this where two World King powerhouses simultaneously attacked each other. The shockwaves tore apart their clothes, revealing their true appearances. Lin Jun's avatar's long hair fluttered in the wind, revealing a purplish gold skin that seemed to be cast from steel. The old man opposite him also had a strong body and white hair. He was also someone Lin Jun was familiar with, Xianglong. Hee. Lin Jun, we meet again. You made me look for you so hard. Xianglong moved his wrists, making cracking sounds. Facing Lin Jun's main body and doppelganger, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Instead, he was abnormally excited. This was because he could feel that although Lin Jun's doppelganger's strength wasn't bad, its star power was still inferior to his. As a world king with rich battle experience, this difference in star power was enough for him to win. Lin Jun looked at Xianglong. Towards this person, he also had an extreme hatred. It was this person who had sealed Lin Jun in front of the heavenly gate for 700 years. This grudge, Lin Jun had to take revenge. At the same time, Xianglong also hated Lin Jun. Because of Lin Jun, he had also been sealed for 700 years and had even missed the chance to enter the immortal realm. Xianglong, let's not talk nonsense. Come, let's go to my house. No one will disturb us there, and we can settle this once and for all. That's what I was thinking. Otherwise, those alchemist companions of yours would come and join the fun. That would really annoy me to death. Lin Jun's main body and avatar strode forwards. Xianglong immediately followed. When they arrived in front of Lin Jun's house, the door automatically opened. Lin Jun and Xianglong walked in, and the door closed behind them. Lin Jun pressed a button. This courtyard was protected by a protective barrier. Immediately, an eggshell-like yellow light barrier was activated, completely covering the courtyard. The sounds and images inside couldn't be transmitted out, and the outside couldn't be projected in. TSK. The life of an alchemist is really extravagant. This old man definitely can't afford such a courtyard. After returning to the primordial realm for so long, it's been difficult for me to return home. My life has been too *king bitter. Then you should thank me. I'll end your bitter days very soon. Hee. At least you know your limits. As long as I get rid of you, everything you have will be mine. Lin Jun had already brought Xianglong to the courtyard's back garden. Then he sneered, "What I'm talking about is making you disappear completely and be completely free. Lin Jun, hurry up and wake up. Do you think you can defeat me by relying on your purple gold god race avatar? Your avatar only has 3 million star forces. My star forces have reached 3,800,000. How can you defeat me?" As he spoke, Xianglong flashed and directly appeared in front of Lin Jun's avatar. A 7-foot-long saber slashed down as if it could split the heavens and earth. In such a battle, Lin Jun's main body naturally had to hide far away. His avatar held the Mirage sword and resolutely faced it head-on. Although Xianglong's star forces were higher than Lin Jun's avatar by 800,000, the body of a purple gold god race avatar was extremely tough. When the saber and sword collided, the avatar actually didn't retreat at all. Instead, it engaged in a life-and-death battle with Xianglong. The battle between the two great realm kings wasn't earth-shattering. Instead, it was just within a radius of 3 feet. Every saber and sword was as fast as lightning. There were tens of thousands of attacks and defenses in a second. If one couldn't block every move, it would end with death. Xianglong originally thought that with his many years of battle experience, dealing with a nebula stage rookie like Lin Jun would be a piece of cake. However, he didn't expect that Lin Jun's battle experience seemed to be even above his. In such a detailed battle, Xianglong was actually at a disadvantage. After 2 consecutive exchanges, 4 or 5 wounds appeared on Ku Xianglong's body. Impossible. How can your avatar's battle awareness be so strong? Shouldn't the avatar be controlled by the main body's thoughts? There's no need to explain this to you. Go to hell. The avatar fiercely brandished his sword. Ku Xianglong finally gave up on using techniques and switched to using simple and crude star force suppression. He fiercely waved his saber, and a vast river of starlight appeared. Taishi's sword beam, like a ray of sunlight breaking through the dark clouds. Lin Jun's mirage sword brazenly met it. Rumble. The earth trembled under this blow. This time, Ku Xianglong only had a slight advantage in the head-on collision. It wasn't as easy as he had imagined. You're using an ancient sword technique. Ku Xianglong wasn't a fool and immediately understood the clues. Although Lin Jun took a few steps back, it was nothing compared to the strong body of the Purple Gold God tribe. He sneered. It's good that you understand. Your little star force is nothing to me. Ku Xianglong, I'll use you to practice today. Lin Jun's avatar fiercely rushed forward again. With a wave of his sword, satellite fall. This attack was like a flying immortal from outer space, and it was impossible to dodge. Ku Xianglong could only rely on his powerful star force to block it with his saber. However, this time, he was the one who was pushed back. Lin Jun succeeded in his attack and quickly followed up. With the Taiyuan sword technique and the 5 styles of falling stars, coupled with his strong physical fitness, Ku Xianglong was quickly suppressed by him. Ku Xianglong roared again and again. His attacks were thwarted, but he couldn't do anything to Lin Jun. The Realm Kings of the New Territories were indeed incomparable to the Realm Kings of the Primordial Realm. Although their star force was a little better, they were far inferior in other aspects. Lin Jun seized the opportunity and shot out a few sword auras, adding several holes to Ku Xianglong's body. Ku Xianglong's body fell, and Lin Jun walked over with the Phantom Light sword in hand. Ku Xianglong, it's over. Your candles and paper money are for your own use. Ku Xianglong's eyes revealed a hint of viciousness, as if he had made up his mind about something. Lin Jun, you forced me to do this. I can't kill you today. In another 2,000 or 3,000 years, my lifespan will be up. Instead of dying in such a cowardly manner, I'll drag you down to hell with me, no matter what. Do you still have that ability? Let's talk about it after you get past my clone. Lin Jun wasn't afraid of him at all. Ku Xianglong's eyes revealed a cold glint. You probably don't know that the battle between 2 Qilins is resolved in a special way. What way? Lin Jun suddenly had a bad feeling. You're the Fire Qilin bloodline, but you don't know the Qilin technique. Without waiting for Lin Jun to ask, Ku Xianglong continued. When the Qilin clan is in a life or death situation, a Qilin can use 1,000,000 star force to open up a Qilin force field. No life without the Qilin bloodline can enter this force field. I have 8 million star force. Lin Jun, even if I use 1,000,000 star force, I'll still have 8 million star force left. As for you, you only have about 1,000,000. So today, I must kill you. Beast transformation. Ku Xianglong suddenly roared. He didn't give Lin Jun's clone any chance to attack. His clothes instantly burst open, and he turned into a huge fire Qilin. Roar! Roar! A huge monster appeared. Its fiery red mane fluttered in the wind. Its eyes were round, and its fangs were sharp. Smoke with the smell of sulfur came out of its nostrils. Rolling heat waves swept through the surroundings, and the plants in the garden withered in an instant. Beside him, a white halo expanded rapidly. Lin Jun's clone wanted to brandish his sword, but that force was indeed irresistible. It pushed his clone far away. No matter how hard Lin Jun tried, he couldn't break through the white halo. Damn it! This is the Qilin clan's secret method. Without 10 times the star force of a user, it can't be broken. When the white halo enveloped Lin Jun's body, Lin Jun knew that his body was about to face Ku Xianglong. However, this white halo also had its benefits. Lin Jun's black hole beast transformation had never reached the peak of the infant stage. Under the urging of the white halo, it actually reached the peak. Seeing the huge fire Qilin approaching with its fangs and claws, Lin Jun couldn't suppress his strong desire to transform. First, he quickly swallowed a divine power pill. His star force increased by 40%, reaching 154 million star force. Roar, roar, roar. Lin Jun's clothes instantly burst open, and a huge black mutated Qilin appeared in the garden. Chapter 664. The moment Lin Jun's black hole beast appeared, its aura surpassed that of Ku Xianglong's fire Qilin. The Qilin race was the king of all beasts, and a black hole beast mutated from a Qilin could be considered the king of all Qilins. Therefore, when Lin Jun's black hole beast appeared, its aura was not inferior to Ku Xianglong's fire Qilin at all. Lin Jun's steel-like black scales reflected a cold light. Unlike Ku Xianglong's fiery mane, Lin Jun's mane was also black and very thick. He had a pair of antlers on his head, but they were not too sharp. He had thick limbs and a big mouth. Although he was smaller than Ku Xianglong's fire Qilin, he was much more ferocious. Also, Lin Jun's mouth was wider and sharper, and his jaws were wide open as if he could swallow huge things. This was the true form of the black hole beast. His big mouth was not just for show. As long as Lin Jun wanted to, he could really create a black hole storm. Roar, roar. After Lin Jun's black hole beast appeared, and he took the divine power pill, his 1 million astral points increased to 154 million. Ku Xianglong, on the other hand, felt extremely uncomfortable. Level suppression. This was the natural level suppression between galactic beasts. A higher level galactic beast would suppress a lower level galactic beast. As a super galactic beast fire Qilin, Ku Xianglong had always been the one suppressing others. He had never been suppressed before. Today, he finally felt it. After the level suppression, Lin Jun's combat power increased a little, and Ku Xianglong's combat power decreased a little. The gap between the two narrowed further. In addition, Lin Jun's aura was at its peak. He could fight now. The two big guys quickly approached each other, jumped up at the same time, and collided. Roar! Ku Xianglong took advantage of his bigger size and bit Lin Jun's shoulder. Blood splattered everywhere. Lin Jun's black hole beast was underage and small. However, being small had its advantages. He ignored the injury on his back and bit Ku Xianglong's front claw. Lin Jun's head moved, and he could clearly hear the sound of bones breaking coming from his mouth. Roar! Ku Xianglong did not expect Lin Jun to be so fierce. He swung his other claw and slapped Lin Jun, sending him flying. Lin Jun rolled twice on the ground, knocking over a rock garden and rubble. Its body seemed to be loaded with springs as it leapt up once more, landing on top of Ku Xianglong's head. Its two front claws struck out like a bow from both sides. Pooh! It was Lin Jun's body. Lin Jun's the Qilins, and the Qilin Qin the battle. Lin Jun battled Qilin Lin. Of course, Qilin battle. Qilin Qins, Jun's, Qilins s Qilin. Its two huge beasts were rolling and roaring in the garden. If it wasn't for the protective barrier, the entire area would have been alarmed. The surrounding flowers, trees, and even the houses were razed to the ground in the battle. During the battle, Ku Xianglong spat out a mouthful of flames. He realized that it was useless against Lin Jun, but the raging fire had already started to wreak havoc. The ground was covered in blood, broken scales, scattered manes, and countless traces of a fierce battle. Outside the southern Liang city, Liang Chun finally returned. He rushed back, covered in dust. He did not even take a sip of water and went straight to the music villa in the city. "Sister Xiaoya, where's my mother?" When he arrived at the backyard, he asked Ning Qingshuan's maid. "Young miss just finished her training and is resting." "Young master, are you looking for her for something? If it's not important, you can come back tomorrow." No. It's very important. Let my mother wake up quickly." Ning Qingxian rarely used the dimensional universe. She did not have many friends in the dimensional universe. Other than her master, who did not speak once in 10,000 years, the only other friend was Liang Chun. Moreover, Liang Chun was by her side, so her dimensional universe was usually closed. According to her, It was to prevent him from disturbing her training. Xiaoya was hesitating when Ning Qingshuan's voice came from inside the room. "Let him in." "All right, young master, you can go in. But I have to remind you that young miss doesn't have much money on hand. It's best if you don't mention money." All right, I know. Do I look like the kind of person who only cares about money?" Liang Chan walked into Ning Qingshuan's room and saw his beautiful mother slowly coming out. Her skirt was slightly white from washing. Her hair was held up with a smooth wooden hairpin that was used for who knows how long. Occasionally, a few strands of hair would fall down to her waist. In reality, Ning Qingxian was a person who had very simple requirements for material things. Other than training, Liang Chun did not know what use money had for her. The things in her room seemed to have been like this for as long as Liang Chun could remember. It was clean and tidy, but there was no need for anything new. "Speak. You disappeared for half a year. Why did you suddenly come back to find me?" Ning Qingxian lazily asked after taking a sip of tea. "Mother, it's really something big this time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to find you in the middle of the night. But before I tell you, you better be mentally prepared." "Oh? What do I need to prepare?" Her naturally slow temperament made her feel that nothing would happen. "Just prepare. Don't get agitated, don't get angry. Just listen to me slowly. Is that so? Then I'm already prepared." Ning Qingxian picked up a book and started reading. Cough, cough. "I think I've found the whereabouts of the Hua Hua Tai Sui." As Liang Chen spoke, he looked at his mother's reaction. His fingers that were flipping through the pages suddenly stopped. Ning Qingxian did not do anything, but Liang Chen felt the temperature in the room drop a few degrees for no reason. Originally, there were still birds and cicadas in the garden outside, but at this moment, they all disappeared. Within a few hundred miles, everyone was silent at this moment. They all felt an aura that made their hearts palpitate. Although they did not know where this aura came from, they did not even dare to breathe. When an immortal expert was angry, all living things around them would be suppressed. After a while, Ning Qingxian took a deep breath. Everything returned to normal. "Where?" Ning Qingxian asked. "Mother, this is a long story. Listen to me slowly. Do you still remember that bastard called Lin Zhen that I mentioned? Now, I can confirm that this person is indeed a super bastard. I've completely fallen into his trap. That's why I'm in such dire straits today. It's like this." Liang Chun started to tell Ning Qingxian the story. From the time he fought with Lin Zhen, to how he was deceived time and time again. Then he met Lin Zhen in the Alchemist Guild and was framed by him. Of course, Liang Chun purposely cleared his name with this part. He wanted to smear Lin Zhen's reputation and make Ning Qingxian hate this person even more. It wasn't until I saw the arrest warrant and discovered his identity as a member of the Purple Gold God clan that I began to suspect who he was. Thus, I traveled to the distant Xianlu prefecture. After half a year of investigation, I finally verified my guess. At this time, Liang Chen stood up and said to Ning Qingxian, "Mother, Hua Hua Tai Sui is Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen is Hua Hua Tai Sui. He is now the great elder of the Alchemist Guild. I'm now very sure that he cheated me of my money to take revenge on you, because I'm your son." From the beginning to the end, in Liang Chen's description, Lin Zhen was a greedy, lustful, and extremely shameless scum. Moreover, this scum harbored evil intentions and wanted to take revenge on Ning Qingxian. He wanted to get rid of Liang Chen. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Zhen would eat people, Liang Chen would definitely say that. When Liang Chen finished speaking, Ning Qingxian slightly closed her eyes. Although there seemed to be no movement, Liang Chen knew that his mother was angry, very angry. He even felt that other than cultivation, the only thing Ning Qingxian thought about in her life was to take revenge on Hua Hua Tai Sui. As for the marriage with his father, his mother might have never taken it seriously. After a long time, Ning Qingxian said lightly, "The great elder of the Alchemist Guild, I will go tomorrow." Liang Chun nodded repeatedly. Since his mother said that she would go, then no matter who tried to stop her, they would not be able to protect Lin Zhen. Rumble. A large rock was smashed by Lin Zhen's body. His body was already covered in wounds. Sharp claws and fangs could also cause fatal injuries. Opposite him, Xianglong was not any better. His body was full of wounds, his flesh was torn open, and one of his front claws was broken. But in the end, he was still stronger than Lin Jun. After all, there was a huge gap between their star power. Roar! Lin Jun, you bastard, you are finished. Today, not only will I kill you, but I will also eat you alive. You are so weird. Who knows, I might get some unexpected benefits from eating you. Fire Qilin limped forward. His eyes were cold. Blood was dripping from his mouth. No one knew if it was his blood or Lin Jun's. Lin Jun's mouth was also dripping blood. He had just tasted Ku Xianglong's Qilin blood. Seeing Ku Xianglong walking over, Lin Jun raised his head. Although he was full of wounds, he did not care. He looked at Ku Xianglong with a mocking gaze. You think you have one? The result is obvious now. Do you think you still have the strength to fight? Lin Jun shook his head. My star power is still too weak. I can't beat you. Before Ku Xianglong could laugh, Lin Jun said, but I agree with one thing you said. I want to eat you. No, I want to swallow you. What did you say? Ku Xianglong was stunned. Is Lin Jun crazy? Ku Xianglong, your star power was originally 8 million. You don't know if the Qilin force field has 8 million left after consuming 1 million, right? So what? I am much higher than you. Lin Jun shook his head. It's not much. My current astral energy is 54 million. If I double it, I'll surpass you. If your astral energy doesn't double mine, you'll die for sure. Ku Xianglong sneered. If you have this ability, what were you doing in the beginning? Lin Jun opened his mouth and spat out a bone. It was the bone of Ku Xianglong's front claw. Lin Jun had bitten off a piece. Now that I have this, there is no need for you to live. Ku Xianglong, feel the call from the black hole. Suddenly, a terrifying force rose from Lin Jun's body. Chapter 665. Ever since Ku Xianglong opened the Qilin force field, Lin Jun had already thought of this. There weren't many methods he could use to fight a Qilin, but after taking the God Power Pill, his star force exceeded 5 million. In other words, any life form with less than 3 million star force couldn't escape his black hole devour. However, he didn't swallow Ku Xianglong from the beginning because he was still missing a Qilin bone. Once Ku Xianglong was swallowed, everything he had would become history and he would be annihilated in the black hole devour. So Lin Jun fought desperately and finally bit off a bone from Ku Xianglong's front claw. For this, he was also seriously injured, but with this thing, everything was worth it. So he didn't need to be entangled with Ku Xianglong anymore. He directly launched the black hole devour and directly enveloped Ku Xianglong. Ku Xianglong roared, kicking and digging in the void. Balls of flames shot out aimlessly, but all his struggles were futile. The black hole devourer still had an unparalleled devouring power and swallowed him alive. To be more precise, he entered Lin Jun's stomach. The black hole storm swept out. Ku Xianglong, the invincible world king in the new territories, was killed by Lin Jun's black hole storm. No trace of his existence could be found. No, there was still a little aura. That was Ku Xianglong's soul, still floating in the black hole storm. This time, Lin Jun didn't search Ku Xianglong's soul. Although Ku Xianglong was a powerful world king, he didn't have any special skills, nor did he have any ancient secret books. It wasn't worth Lin Jun's time to search his soul, because if he searched Ku Xianglong's soul now, Lin Jun might not be able to use it again for the next few years. So, he had to choose a suitable target. The black hole storm swept out, and Ku Xianglong's soul was completely annihilated. Lin Jun thought this was the end, but after Ku Xianglong's fire Qilin was completely swallowed, Lin Jun felt a powerful bloodline power surge out from his dantian. This is Ku Xianglong's bloodline power. It was actually assimilated by my black hole beast. Lin Jun didn't think that there would be such a change, but after thinking about it, he immediately understood the situation. When Lin Jun bit Ku Xianglong, he had unknowingly drunk a lot of his blood. Although the black hole had directly swallowed Ku Xianglong, it had still entered Lin Jun's body. They were both from the Qilin race, and their bloodline auras were connected. In addition, he had been swallowed by Lin Jun, so his strength had been assimilated. The swelling star power began to fill Lin Jun's dantian, and the powerful qi and blood began to flow through Lin Jun's meridians. It was as if Lin Jun had eaten the world's most nourishing medicine. He had not reached the peak of his strength, but now he was about to break through to the domain monarch stage uncontrollably. This coup, Xianglong, isn't here to take my life, but to give me the world's #1 spirit pill. Lin Jun could no longer suppress his power. The Qilin force field disappeared, and he turned into a human. He sat cross-legged in the ruins and began to break through on the spot. What he could do was to guide this power and circulate it according to the meridians. Star power surged out like a tidal wave and attacked the inner wall of Lin Jun's dantian. The nebula stage and the star domain stage was a major hurdle. This hurdle was different from ordinary small realms. A small nebula in one's body would truly transform into a large star domain. This was a qualitative leap in strength and would greatly increase a warrior's strength. Generally speaking, after this stage, a warrior's star power would increase by at least 30%. The better ones could increase it by 50%. The more talented ones might increase it by more than 60% or 70%. If one could reach 80%, they could be called a super genius. As for a 100% increase, it could only be considered a legend. There were, but it was too rare. It was so rare that people didn't believe that a 100% increase existed. Lin Jun didn't know how much of a genius he was, but he felt that the increase in his star power after this breakthrough should not be too small. The original barrier between the nebula stage and the star domain stage was finally broken under the impact of the huge star power. There was a huge change in his dantian. The void began to expand as the star power surged and expanded. It was as if the boundary of the universe was moving. A new void appeared and new stars began to flicker. They quickly evolved and formed, emitting light and heat to provide Lin Jun with new star power. This star power was so huge. With the supplement of Ku Xianglong's star power, Lin Jun's breakthrough this time was particularly fierce. Lin Jun's original star power was 1 million, of which about 300,000 came from the dark star space. His own star power was actually around 800,000. In Lin Jun's heart, he thought that his increase this time was at least 50% or even 70% or 80%. But before the results came out, he was still very nervous. At this time, Crazy appeared automatically and began to tell Lin Jun how much star power had increased. Master, congratulations on officially breaking through to the star domain stage. Your star power is continuing to increase. Not counting the 300,000 star power in the dark star space, your current star power has reached 1 million. 1 million meant an increase of 25%. Of course, this was not Lin Jun's limit. 2 million. Congratulations, Master. Your star power has increased by 50%. 50% was the bottom line in Lin Jun's heart. If his star power exceeded this amount, it would be worth it to increase his star power. But Lin Jun still underestimated his potential. The increase in star power was unstoppable. Soon, it reached 4 million. At this time, the rate of increase slowed down slightly, but it was still very fast. Crazy reminded Lin Jun that his star power had increased to 75%. At 80%, one would be considered a super genius. This standard was still too low for Lin Jun. When Lin Jun's astral power reached 1,600,000, the increase in his astral power had doubled. 100% increase. This was the limit of a domain monarch's increase. At this time, Lin Jun was a standard first-level domain monarch, and a peak one at that. But this was not the end of the increase. Ku Xianglong channeled more star power into his body. It continued to break through the barrier of the second-level domain monarch. After breaking through a major realm, these minor realms were no longer enough to stop Lin Jun's breakthrough. His energy center rumbled again, and he directly rushed from the first-level domain monarch to the second-level domain monarch. His star power began to increase again. Although it was slow, it was still steady. When his star power reached 9 million, Lin Jun was a peak second-level domain monarch. But this was not the end. His star power continued to increase. It had to be said that other than strength, Lin Jun's luck was also indispensable. Ku Xianglong's arrival this time gave him a great opportunity. The second-level domain monarch was not the end. Sitting cross-legged in the garden, his entire body was surrounded by starlight. Powerful star power even gushed out from his 7 orifices. Every pore opened, allowing the star power to circulate in circles in his body. This time, his cultivation lasted from midnight to dawn. The dawn in the primordial realm was very special. The sun did not necessarily rise from the east. It could rise from the north or the west. There were too many factors that affected the changes in the primordial realm. The truly powerful warriors even had the ability to secretly change the orbit of a planet. Moreover, the laws of the various countries in the primordial realm had clear rules. For example, in the southern Liang, humans were prohibited from staying on planets within 1 light year of the surface. Without the permission of the country, no one was allowed to change the orbit of the sun, moon, or other planets. Violators would be executed. Every place had its own unique planet. For example, in the southern Liang, people bathed in the light of a star called Clear Sunday. But in Xinla Prefecture, the sun Lin Zhan saw was called Splendid Glory. This place was too big. It was unlike Lin Zhan's hometown, where all the planets in the solar system were bathed in the light of the sun. The clear sun star appeared in the southern sky, and the sunlight penetrated the dark clouds. It was like a god's sword falling from the sky and sprinkling the earth. In the courtyard of Lin Zhan's house, the protective shield had been dispersed at some point. The people who woke up early in the morning and walked on the streets felt that the air in this area was different from yesterday. When they took a breath, it was exceptionally fresh. In the primordial realm, everyone was a warrior. They could clearly feel that the air was filled with star power. Someone must have broken through in this area yesterday. I feel that it was at least a domain monarch who broke through to the World King level. Moreover, it was a very powerful World King. Otherwise, the air would not be affected so much. I think so too, but there was no movement at all. I'm going to stand here for a while. The smell of star power in the air is really refreshing. Haha, it's really lucky to be able to live in the primordial realm. For example, such a powerful World King breakthrough probably won't happen even once in 1,000 years in the new territories. People stopped in 2s and 3s and chatted around Lin Zhan's house. Suddenly, the air in the surroundings seemed to be attracted by something and crazily poured into Lin Zhan's house. The entire neighborhood turned into a vacuum in an instant. Of course, this temporary vacuum did not have any substantial effect on the people. A gust of wind blew, and the air returned to normal. People looked at each other and immediately left. They knew very well that this was a silent warning from the powerhouse inside, telling them not to continue staying here. In their opinion, to be able to do this, one had to be a powerful World King. Even in the primordial realm, there were not many World King powerhouses. At the very least, there was not a single World King walking on this street, so they naturally had to retreat. Soon, there was no one around the neighborhood, and peace was restored. In Lin Zhan's house, Lin Zhan slowly opened his eyes. After a night of hard work, Lin Zhan had made great gains. With the support of Ku Xianglong's massive amount of star power, Lin Zhan rose by 3 levels after his breakthrough, from a 1st-level domain monarch to a 4th-level domain monarch.